Deep, and Iran sees that they have real leverage here,
right,
that it's harder and harder.
All right, so Senator,
here's how we ought to get out.
No, hold a second.
Okay.
You got to answer my question first.
Yeah.
Is it a good thing that Iran, and I think you would agree with me, epicenter of terrorism in the world since 1979, is it good that their military infrastructure is being degraded to the degree that it is? Yes or no?
It's you can't, because it's a premature question. What is going to happen in the next several months?
No, I can ask that question.
Well, you can't separate.
No, I can't. So you have a military side of it. I can show you my chart, but I think I threw it away. You have the military side, you have the political side. I'm simply asking on the military side, is it good, regardless of whether we agree with going in or not, is it good that Iran's military infrastructure has been seriously
degraded? And again,
degraded?
I have to tell you, Joe, first, you can't, what's going to happen 3 months from now? Is it worth it? What's going to happen? Will the world economy collapse? Will something happen even worse? Will the whole energy infrastructure of the world go up in smoke? So you have to, when they do it without planning, when they do it without understanding where they're going,
Senator,
where they're going,
but
I don't think it's fair.
It's a trick question.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
If you do not strategize the consequences of the action, the military action, if you obliterate and do all these things, but you don't actually play it out in your minds and have strategy for the consequences, then it may not be good.
Let me answer the question for everybody in America. The answer, yes. It's good that the terrorist regime, their military has been, and capabilities have been degraded radically.
Degraded radically. Look at that, Chuck Schumer. We have to wait and see. We have to wait and see what happens with. Oh, look at my hair. It looks all weird tonight. Ugh. Anyway, we have to wait and see. Shammer loses stock in Iran. Yeah, well, let's see what happens, I guess. What's up, everybody? Great to see you tonight. It's Monday night. Sorry I was a little bit late. I had a couple last-minute things I had to get taken care of before I could start the show. I don't want to let this play for the whole 4 minutes. That was a crazy long intro. I just wanted to see Schumer get told by Joe Scarborough, like, of course you can say whether or not it's a good thing, right? Hey, let's see who's here tonight. We got Kevin here. Wait. Catherine K was first. What's up? Great to see you. And then Kevin says, how's your back? My back feels better than it did after that long show Saturday night. I got to get not really used to the long shows anymore. I got to get back used to sitting in a chair for that long. It kind of makes a sore back. Great to see you, Jonathan Marcos. A lot of news tonight. Yes, there is. Snarf's here. What's up? I just got timed out and agenda free. Yeah, I don't know. Those people are smart. Iowa Backyard Cams. Looking forward to the show. Great to see you. Greg McNeely. Dagnabbit, I'm late and didn't get my crown. Dagnabbit. Well, that's what happens. None of your business is here, too. What's up? We got Nick Dev. What's up? 1658. Great to see you. Mr. Sneaky Sean, you too. Awesome seeing you here. Ank Ank. Great. Dan, what's up, Dan? How you doing? Muffin Rando. Awesome to see you. OTR Smokehouse. Always good when you're here. What's up, Dan? Great. Yeah, good evening, Jim and the Jimsomniacs. Jody's here. What's up? Great to see you. Hit that plussy. Always do it. KPT's here. What's up, KPT? Awesome to see you. Joe's here. Good evening. YouTube notified me. Yes, I was shocked. Well, sometimes it happens. I think it has to do with because I didn't stream yesterday and I didn't post any videos, so I think it should have worked. Everyone should have got a notification. Kelly J, what's up? Great to see you. Okay, enough intro. Well, I stopped this as soon as I could. Sorry, I had to get everything lined up. Let's see. Margie's here. What's up, Margie? Yeah, the like button works. Use it. Definitely does. The Grillmaster Schumer to you guys. That's right. They act like nobody in government has ever thought about it. Yeah, and I think, oh, no, they had no plan. They had a plan, Hank. Tell them they had a plan. NASCAR Mo, what's up? Hello, Jim. Nice to see you tonight. Great to see you, too. Eastwind Farms is here, too. Great to see you. Ben Frail. Good afternoon, Jim, and everyone else. Awesome. Tom Bravo's here, too. Great to see you. So what's up, everybody? We've got some news stories. We're going to cover some topics. Show's going to be about 2 hours, somewhere between 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It always is. Unless, and of course, we hit the goal of $100 in total across all platforms, which includes YouTube Super Chats, Rumble Rants, Kick and Twitch memberships, I think, and there's coins on locals. There's also pinned in the chat, there is PayPal, Cash App, Coffee, Ko-Fi, whatever you want to call it, K-O-F-I. It's a place to donate. And another thing called Super Tips. If we hit 100 in total across all those platforms, all the donations, tips, whatever you want to call it, comes in and it reaches 100 in total, we add an extra hour to the show. Every 100 that comes in, we add an additional extra hour to the show. So the show could be as long as you want. It could be 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. We had a 5.5 hour show Saturday night. Worked out great. It's up to you guys. And then as an added bonus, what I like to do is when we hit 50, we activate Bellavision for the evening. There's Bella. She's just chilling out. And that's when we hit 50. We'll activate Bellavision. And that's in total across all platforms. But as a, add a little thing, what I like to do is if for some reason somebody makes an individual donation of $25 or greater, an individual person makes an individual donation, that could be like a $25 super chat, a Cash App, a PayPal. Those are always, honestly, Cash App and PayPal are way better than YouTube super chats. I get more of that money. YouTube takes 30% and Apple takes 30%. So sometimes you get 40% to the guy. But besides that, so if somebody was to make a $25 donation anywhere, we would activate Bellavision for the evening. And that could also even be like 5 gifted memberships. Anyone gives 5 gifted memberships, that's an automatic Bellavision. And that's like, in this March for memberships, that's always appreciated. So thank you all so much. All right. And there's Bella, but that's what will happen. So thank you so much. They plan through every scenario. So Pentagon duties to make plans for Russia, China, and North Korea. Yeah, they haven't. They're there. They got them all. So I want to thank everybody who's here. But let's see. So we're not going to watch any more of Schumer looking like a fool. We've got this other one, which I thought was very interesting, which might be I don't know. This probably is going to get claimed. I'll have to probably clip it out. But John Oliver admits that the more government fingerprints than you would like in the kidnapping plot of Gretchen Whitmer. So this is very interesting.
Honestly, we first started looking at this story a few years ago, and it has changed how I've viewed every Sting story that's made headlines since. Remember when that group of men were arrested for trying to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer? Guess how many confidential informants seem to help that plot along? I'll give you a clue. It is a lot more than you would like. And you don't have to sympathize with these men or agree with their views to wonder if that plan could have even gotten off the ground if there hadn't been as many as a dozen confidential informants involved and 2 undercover federal agents.
Yeah, there was a dozen informants and 2 undercover agents and 4 people. They went after 4 people. So you had 14 people for the government and 4 other people that they entrapped. That's what happens. Yeah. Saving the best for World War III. Yeah, we got them covered. Definitely. Yeah. Tom Clancy has awesome books. Though Tom Clancy's book covering Iran, we're supposed to be using Russia's supposed to be helping us with Iran, I think. No, is it Iran with Russia? No, Russia helps us with China. We helped Russia with China. What's to say? Here's some unfortunate shit happening right now. God help us. Wall Street apes. Ryan me. This guy does comedy. He's daily. No, this is some John Oliver Tonight or something like that on HBO, I think. So, well, this is breaking news. So we'll cover this right quick. Happening now, an explosion reported at the Valero refinery in Port Arthur, Texas. This is the largest refinery on the Gulf Coast, 335,000 barrels per day. Residents reported a boom rattling windows. They're told to take shelter. Well, this ain't good. This ain't good at all. This ain't good at all. Yeah, none of your business. I agree with you. I'm surprised he's bringing this up. Yes, but there's a reason. And the reason is because the left is going to start saying that all these Antifa people that are getting busted, and they're going to start saying that was all entrapments. Some of Biden's cells. Probably. This could be. This is one of the refineries, I believe, the refinery that takes the Venezuelan oil. I believe it's this Valero refinery that takes the Venezuelan oil. But maybe I'm wrong. This is bad. That's very, very bad. Very, very bad. Yeah, here it says a massive explosion at the Port Arthur Valero refinery takes just 2% of America's 18 million barrel per day refining capacity.
Yeah, if I can get a hand with it, it's like pros up really bad.
So yeah, I don't know if that's how. I mean, it doesn't look like it's not all in flames, so it's not like completely destroyed the whole facility. Terrorists probably. 20, 30 million illegal aliens are unidentified in the U.S. I'd be shocked if they weren't a dozen or so teams of military special forces. I bet China, Russia, Pakistan, Brazil all have special team ops capable of infrastructure attacks who came in hiding among the millions. They probably have CDL licenses. Yeah, probably. Probably. So let's jump into the next news story of the day. It's all right. Why can't people hold their cameras correctly? I don't know. Yeah, that'll buff out. That's a huge refinery. I used to drive by it all the time. Anyone injured? So far, they're not reporting any injuries. So far. That's not good. I say Antifa. Could be. Campaign 20 Biden. Come on, all asylum seekers, drug cartel, coyotes, and sleeper cells while Trump warned us about caravans and invasions. Yeah. Refinery accidents happen. It's about that time that they start to do shutdowns for maintaining them. Yeah. The Borg just rebuilds itself. Be like the Borg. So, Ed Martin. You guys remember Eagle Ed Martin, the guy who was Trump's, like going after like conspiracies are and doing all this other stuff that he was investigating and different things. He challenged DC's bar's political vendetta, and then they charged him. So now the DC bar is going after him for doing his job. That's right, for doing his job. The charges against Ed Martin didn't emerge in a vacuum. They came from the very disciplinary authority he had publicly accused of bias. So he said, you guys are biased. You're going after conservatives and stuff, and started looking into it. And so then they're like, okay, now we're going to go after you. Hey, Jim, the theory behind Gretchen's FBI kidnapping is that she needed an excuse for Minnesota taxpayers to pay for the $2 million security system at her mansion that had been installed prior to this. Ooh, I didn't really. I didn't realize that. I thought it was just, it was a dry run for January 6th. 8 people were behind it, and they just wanted to get some, basically to use it to scare people and say, oh, crazy right-wingers, Just days after the Trump Justice Department proposed a rule to combat the left's use of bar fare to destroy conservative lawyers. Yeah, Michigan. Yeah, I know, Michigan. Michigan taxpayers. Did I say Michigan? Did I say something besides Michigan? Because it is. I know it's Michigan. Yeah. The legal disciplinary authority in the department's own backyard may have vindicated its efforts by launching an attack on U.S. Pardon Attorney Ed Martin. So yeah, no, we're not biased. We're just going to go after guys that are doing work for the Trump administration. Even though that's what we were accused of doing before, keep targeting people that work for the Trump administration. We'll just keep doing it. Did I say Minnesota? My bad. On March 6th, the Washington, D.C. Office of the Disciplinary Counsel filed charges and initiated disciplinary proceedings against the MAGA stalwart in a case that could drag on for months or longer, waste precious taxpayer resources, and result in sanctions up and including disbarment. Disciplinary Counsel claims that Martin, then serving as an interim U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, violated his oath of office. How? He alleges that when Martin sent letters to Georgetown Law School asking whether the school was continuing to teach and promote DEI, suggesting the school should stop, and indicating that its responses could bear on its nonprofit status and federal funding, he violated the First and Fifth Amendments. What? After a retired judge and Georgetown Law alumnus brought a complaint over the alleged impropriety of the inquiry, the council solicited a response from Martin. Martin initially declined, appealing to the judges of D.C. Court of Appeals, which presides over the disciplinary authority, to resolve the matter, alleging that the disciplinary council had engaged in uneven behavior and prejudicial conduct. Did Trump appoint Bill Barr because he thought Bill owned the bar? Maybe. It's possible. The chief judge directed Martin on multiple occasions to follow standard protocol and cooperate with the council. The chief judge, you know who the chief judge is, don't you? Boasberg! The council found Martin's pleadings violated still more codes of conduct, including unauthorized ex parte communications with a judge and interference with the administration of justice. What? Operating on an incomplete record of a de facto indictment, there are a myriad of potential issues with the council's charges. The council is effectively seeking to punish Martin for executing the Trump administration's policies to counter discrimination masquerading as anti-discrimination under DEI, based on the disciplinary authority's own opinion of constitutionality. If Martin had acted so egregiously, Georgetown could have sought remedies in court rather than relying on a seemingly chance complaint from a seemingly unconnected retired judge. Nothing is unconnected. Let's just make this clear. This is all part of their plan. The procedural claims seem ticky-tack, and there is a glaring double standard. Federal attorneys engaged in absolutely outrageous conduct without ever facing this authority's wrath during the last decade of government weaponization against conservatives, from Russiagate, Spygate, Biden's January 6th jihad, to lawfare against candidate Trump during the 2024 election, and beyond. For state and local bar disciplinary authorities to police the work of federal attorneys raises all manner of constitution-threatening, chaos-inducing, and chilling issues. Yes, that's right. Come on, folks, hit that like button. It's always nice when people can hit a like button. You know what I mean? They can just, hit it, and makes a big difference. What's more, vital context admitted in reporting on El Affair Martin suggests that disciplinary counsel's charges are a culmination of a long-running vendetta from the institutional left against the former interim D.C. U.S. attorney and weaponization working group. That's what he was, the weaponization working group. If not outright retaliation. That institutional left has long aimed to punish Martin, including via a D.C. legal disciplinary authority whose alleged politicization Martin himself was probing. They should take Bill Barr's bagpipes away. They should. The D.C. Board on Professional Responsibility, which has historically been dominated by demon rats, administers the district's legal disciplinary system and is responsible for appointing the disciplinary counsel, the chief prosecutor in attorney discipline matters. Hamilton P. Fox III, a registered demon rat per public records, has served at the council in recent years. On February 7th, Martin wrote a letter to Fox, who would later file charges against him, seeking information to evaluate claims Fox's office was abusing its power by targeting those on the right with dubious ethics probes. Citing the case of Jeffrey Clark, a Trump 1 Justice Department official in disciplinary authorities crosshair, Martin indicated there were concerns that the council was pursuing lawyers for ethics violations based not on personal knowledge, a standard the office said it adhered to, but based on a policy or political disagreement. Martin also asked Fox if there was an explicit policy ensuring even-handedness, including limiting the targeting of individuals with whom you may disagree, and how the office handled clearly politically motivated attacks from certain public interest groups, what Martin called political hit squads looking to damage the bar. As I recovered in reporting at Real Clear Investigations, and then Democrat-led Senate Judiciary Committee lodged a complaint against Clark with the D.C. Disciplinary Authority in July 2022, seemingly without personal knowledge of his alleged misconduct. This apparently instigated a years-long Kafkaesque disciplinary proceeding against the eminent attorney, and yet unprecedented case resulting in a recommendation that Clark be disbarred, now pending before the D.C. Court of Appeals. Primarily concerns his drafting of and advocacy for a letter he wrote on behalf of the Trump 1 DOJ, but that was never sent to the Georgia's legislature, calling for that body to convene a special session to review the 2020 election results. That ensuing correspondence is not fully public, but the Federalist previously reported that in March 2025, then chairman of the D.C. Board of Professional Responsibility responded to Martin, defending the disciplinary council's treatment of Clark while acknowledging the board had amended its rules to allow for docketing of complaints from parties lacking firsthand knowledge of underlying allegations. An amendment introduced after Clark had already been charged. So they just changed the rules to get away with what they were doing. That's how they work. That's how they work. That's how the fucking communists work. These people are all fucking communists. Communists. There's only one thing I hate worse than Illinois Nazis, and it's D.C. commies. In a follow-up letter to the D.C. Court of Appeals Chief Judge, Martin highlighted Fox's conflicting messages about the requirement for opening investigations and accused Fox of using mob-like language and threatening to ratchet up consequences for Clark. Fueling his suspicion, the disciplinary council is compromised regarding its investigation. Martin had then questioned Fox's objectivity and temperament directly before the Board of Professional Responsibility, the D.C. Court of Appeals, and ultimately the public. Might this all have drawn the disciplinary council's ire? Why aren't they being taken out? Yeah, me too. I'm sick of it too. At the same time, this confrontation was escalating. The left-wing lawfare apparatus, a political hit squad of the kind Martin had referenced, was mounting an offensive against the loathed Trump loyalists, giving the disciplinary council a menu of charges to potentially pursue. Hey, absent-minded, what's up? Great to see you, Jim. Do not send us to FFS and send us to Trash Channel ever. At least tell us outright. I hate that guy. He was the only one streaming. That was the only problem. He was the only one streaming at the time. There was no one else. There wasn't. There was no one else. I looked and looked and looked. Anyway, on February 6, 2025, the day before Martin sent his letter to Fox, the 65 Project submitted a letter calling on the Office of Disciplinary Counsel to investigate Martin for dismissing cases against January 6 defendants, some of whom Martin had previously represented or supported as a private lawyer. Martin did so as interim U.S. attorney, consistent with President Trump's blanket pardon. But the Barfare Group, explicitly created to target MAGA lawyers for destruction, claimed there was a conflict of interest. Who has the power, the DOJ full of lawyers or the bar that can remove their law licenses? What gives the bar any control over law licenses? That's just people allowing it to happen. And Trump's deep state advisors recommended bar. The disciplinary council apparently found that complaint wanting, declining to investigate similar charges raised by another individual per a letter later leaked to resistance-linked lawfare publication dated February 28th. Would that declination provide cover for later reprisals? During the same month of February, Martin opened his inquiry into Georgetown. In March, Senate Judiciary Committee Democrats called on the disciplinary council to investigate Martin again over the January 6 dismissals and for purportedly seeking to intimidate government employees through tweets indicating intent to pursue those threatening then Doge leader Elon Musk and former special counsel Jack Smith. It's against the law to threaten government employees. Just days later, the retired judge sent his complaint about the Georgetown inquiry. In April 2025, the Society for the Rule of Law, led by anti-Trump Republicans, purported conservatives and libertarians, they're not, they're all fucking commies, called for an investigation into Martin. The following month, Demand Progress and Freedom of the Press Foundation lodged a complaint chronicling a parade of horribles, including the Georgetown inquiry. Last July, a pair of House Democrats lodged a similar complaint, also referencing the Georgetown inquiry. With all of these forces egging the disciplinary council on, with Martin having already challenged the court counsel directly, the charges in retrospect seem inevitable. Fox declined to comment on the story, citing the D.C. Court of Appeals confidentiality rules. Yeah, Barnes has gone off to defend. Oh, he has, man. I was watching last night. I was watching a little bit of Viva and Barnes, and I could see Viva is not comfortable, like with the stuff Barnes is saying. Viva's like, like. I don't know. Yeah. What do you make of Barnes going after Eric Hunley and Gruber? I'm done with Barnes after that. What respect I have for him is gone. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Barnes. I don't know, man. I don't, if Barnes keeps going down this road, I don't see Viva streaming with them for very much longer, because Barnes is basically attacking anybody that everybody and anybody. Yeah. Going after Trump is fair, but going after your friends is bottom of the barrel. Yeah, you know. As the case unfolds, we'll be able to better judge its legitimacy and whether it's retaliatory. I don't think we have to wait for it going. This case is not legitimate. They're targeting him for sending a letter to them telling them what the law was, which is his job. But minimally, the left's targeting of conservative attorneys via the likes of the D.C. Legal Disciplinary Authority should be seen as part and parcel of a comprehensive campaign from the left to dominate the justice system. One that encompasses resistance judges, deep state attorneys, Soros DAs, lawfare organizations, and law schools that train and credential these cohorts, and now the progressive groups coaching everyday radicals to engage in jury nullification. Yeah, Barnes thinks everybody him sucks. Remember when Barnes was having a medical emergency last year? Did he hit his head? I don't know. Maybe he had a stroke. Maybe he had a stroke, and maybe his brain got swapped with Fetterman's. Barnes has a black eye somehow. I don't know. If you said a few weeks ago that nothing will break him and Barnes apart, I believe him due to his Rumble deal. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, with the most vital political matters increasingly punted by our elected representatives to the courts, it's imperative that this effort to rig the deck be recognized and combated. And that includes fighting the growing use of barfare to destroy conservative attorneys and deprive conservative causes of the talent necessary to compete and win on pivotal legal battlefield. I mean that's what's going on though. Class A 21 says, I've seen this coming for a while. Barnes started going nuts a little over a year ago. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. The same story, but from Real Clear Politics. It just says, it's the same. Is this the same guy? This might be the same guy. Wrote the same. Wait a minute. Is this the same guy? Yeah, it's just the same guy. Wrote the fucking story in two places. That's the same exact story. All right, never mind. We're not going to read that. All right, and then we're going to go on to this next story, which there was some oral arguments today at the Supreme Court about mail-in ballots and how long they could be taken for, and it doesn't. Bondi broke Barnes, maybe. Hello, everyone. Did you know that Viva is Jewish? I don't think he's not a practicing Jew, though. He's like one of those, he doesn't keep kosher. He doesn't observe the Sabbath or nothing like that. He's like what they would call a gyno, Jewish name only. It worried me when Barnes was buddy-buddy with Massey. Canadian cuck chair. Oops, did I say that out loud? Yeah. Bondi broke Barnes. Hey, what's up, Cool Frog? Great to see you. First-time pot smokers. Yeah, right? So anyway, the Supreme Court appears poised to strike down allowing mail-in ballots to be received days or weeks after Election Day. Assistant AG Harmeet delays it. We argued in our brief that because Congress has these laws that refer to an election day should mean election day, meaning the last day by which ballots can be received by the state and processed. I thought the blood makes you Jewish, according to Joe only. Well, yeah, he's not a Joe Neerman type Jew. Yeah, no, if his mother is Jewish then by blood, then he's Jewish by blood. That's how they do it. It's maternal, not paternal. But if it's somebody that's like saying that Chuck Schumer is is Chuck Schumer a Jew? I mean, we saw him making raw hamburgers with cheese on it. That's completely unkosher. Just saying. I don't know. Gyno. Viva does have the nose, though. Yeah. So here it was. Let's see. We'll listen to Harmeet. She says it better than me. And then we're going to listen to some stuff from the hearing.
Is it legal for states to continue to allow ballots to trickle in after the official federal election day in November and count them? Or is that inconsistent with our federal election statutes? That's the question that the United States Supreme Court confronted today in a very interesting, more than 2 hours oral argument that I had the privilege of witnessing. We at the Civil Rights Division, where we're charged with enforcing our federal election laws, had the privilege of co-authoring a brief with our Solicitor General, who then argued it in court today, together with two of the other top oral advocates in the country, including former Solicitor General Paul Clement, who argued for the Republican National Committee to uphold the lower court ruling from the Fifth Circuit that indeed the practice of Mississippi, and by the way, parenthetically, many other states, of allowing ballots to trickle in and be counted days and sometimes even up to 3 weeks after an election is inconsistent with our federal election statute. So, in prior cases, the United States Supreme Court has addressed these types of issues, and Justice Kavanaugh wrote in a case in 2020 that these kinds of disparate trickling in and uncertainty and a wide swath of different kinds of laws creates uncertainty around elections and indeed undermines confidence in our elections. So we argued in our brief that because Congress has these laws that refer to an election day should mean election day, meaning the last day by which ballots can be received by the state and processed. And so here, Mississippi allows it for 5 days. Some states allow it for 10 days, up to 21 days. 8 states don't even require a postmark on mail ballots. So for those of you who are concerned about whether this would impact our military abroad being able to cast their ballots, it doesn't, because there's a special statute for that under federal law, so there's no preemption issue. And so here I saw a very spirited argument. All of the 9 justices asked questions. I think there was a distinct trend in how some of these justices were viewing this. And this isn't Mississippi's first trip to the Supreme Court. There was a case called Foster versus Love in 1997, where it was kind of looking at the opposite end of the spectrum. Mississippi had a open primary law that said that at the primary level, if any particular candidate, even a federal election, got a majority of the votes, that was the end. There was no need for a general election. And the Supreme Court held that this violated the very statutes that we're looking at here about a federal general election day. And so it's going to be interesting to see the court reconcile that prior decision, some other decisions by the court, and look at the legislative history. And so I'm really excited to see this case come out. And if it comes out the way that the United States is arguing at the Civil Rights Division and Solicitor General's office, i.e., that it is inconsistent with federal law for states to continue to process and accept these ballots after the election day being the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, set by federal law way back in the mid-1800s, I think that's actually going to be a positive development for voter confidence in the outcome of our elections, regardless of your party, because we're going to know that final means final, and there aren't some shenanigans with a bunch of people, your neighbor or whoever, delivering a dump of ballots into the mail after the election day. So stay tuned for further developments in this case.
Awesome. Sounds good to me. That sounds great, right? That sounds good to me, right? That sounds good. All right. And here's some arguments from the case, which we'll get to in a second. But first, let me do this. It says, Ank says, only 15 to 18% of Israel pure-blooded Jews. I don't know how, like pure-blooded, that's like, that would mean like if a man marries because if a man that's not Jewish by blood marries a woman who is Jewish by blood, they have kids, their kids are all Jewish, but the only way for it to pass on would be if it's a boy to marry a Jewish girl and then have more Jewish kids. But if it's a Jewish girl, she can marry another guy who's not Jewish, and then their kids would be Jewish, but the guy wouldn't be Jewish. You understand? So it would be like this whole thing. So you could actually get someone who's like Jewish according to their law that's only like a very small percentage Jewish. Really. That's what I think. Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to ask Joe, but they probably. I think they try to do all the stuff, to keep it all, like married Jews. That way they all stay Jews. I think. I don't know. But KPT says, Jim, take a breath now and then. You're over caffeinated. I actually not over caffeinated. I haven't had any. I had a cup of coffee this morning, but that's it. I'm trying. I got a whole bunch of stuff I want to get to, so I'm trying to talk fast. And so whatever. Chuck's wife is a dude. I think so. Looks like it to me. I've seen the pictures. Looks very manly, very, very manly hands. Did I see Chucky Schumer today talking about the Save America Act? What an idiot lunatic. Yeah, it's crazy. Dems say if your ballot comes in 2 to 3 weeks after the election, it must be counted. It's crazy. Hard to believe she's almost 60. That's how 2020 happened. Yes, it is. And as Kofi bot says, come over to Kofi, donate over there. And Joe says, let us begin. Thank you, Joe. With that means we are now $98 away from adding the first extra hour to the show, and $48 away from Bellavision. Bellavision. Yeah, PMS 13, MS 13, PMS 13 is equal to MS now. I know. What's up, Greg McNeely? Or am I late? You're not late, Pat Hacker. We started late. I wish I could bet after the game ends. Yeah, this comes up. The Constitution says election day, not election weeks. Yeah. Junus follows the mother. That's what I'm saying. Junus follows the mother. So, like, if you could have, like, to where, like, you have a daughter and they marry someone that's Jew, then daughter marries someone else that's not Jewish. So you could have it, like, really diluted. Hey, Muffin Rando, good to see you. Missed you on Gavia today. Call Joe. Yeah, I can. I had to leave a tad early today. If your grandchildren are not Jewish, neither are you. So it has been said. So it's been said. Okay, I don't know. In Washington State, your ballot must be postmarked the day of the election. What's up, Pat Hacker? Los Angeles, 6-3, both in the fourth. Oh yeah. What's up, Derek? Great to see you. Derek, I tried to pop on your show last night, and just when I came in, you guys ended right when I got into the background. I was out. By the time I got home, I think it was like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, I tried to jump on. So I'm sorry. I tried to come on for your 500 subscriber thing. I apologize. Jim, you should get paid to read chats. I know, but I know, but it is. But thank you for the 5. I have a nice thing going where I like to read chats and I talk to people, and so I'm going to try to do it as long as I can. But I really appreciate it, Trump, Mr. America First. And with that, that means we are now 93 away from adding the first extra hour to the show, and 43 away from Bellavision. Thank you so much, though. I really appreciate it. Yeah, that sucks. It does. Yeah, all good. Okay, thank you. That's what my Jewish friends say. Oh, okay. If a goy converts like Trump's daughter did, what if a goy converts? I don't know. What did I miss? Not much. Not much. What's up? Great to see you. So let's see. So here's going to be Alito, it looks like, talking. Let's see what he has to say.
We have lots of phrases that involve 2 words, the second of which is day. Labor Day, Memorial Day, George Washington's birthday, Independence Day, birthday, and Election Day. And they're all particular days. So if we start with that, if I have nothing more to look at than the phrase Election Day, I think this is the day in which everything is going to take place, or almost everything. And then we have 3 points in time. 1844, 1872, 1914. And we can ask, what would people have thought on those days is meant by this phrase, Election Day? Which of those should we choose? Which of those dates should we choose?
Well, I think you could choose any of the 3. I mean, honestly, I think the single best one, if you're just going to choose one, is 1872. And the reason I say that is because 1914 is the latest in time, but that's the one that Congress gave the least thought to.
So see, that's what they're saying. Election Day. Election Day is a thing. Yeah. Any ballots not in the box on election night should not count. A grace period afterward provides ample opportunity to cheat, since you can see exactly how many votes are needed to flip a race and produce them. Yeah. Election Day is the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. It's not a season. It's a fixed date. Everyone has the same amount of time to get their personal paperwork in proper order. The day begins and ends within a fixed 24-hour period, ending the vote at a specific date and time. It would appear the evolution of voting process has led to great consternation of free and fair election results. Yet another example of not all improvements yield desirable adults. I agree. Laughter erupts at the Supreme Court when an attorney arguing against mail-in balloting suggests there could never be voter fraud in Chicago. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I didn't share the tab. I'm going to have to turn it up because it's really quiet. Let me see.
You have 8 states that don't even require a postmark. And there is nothing in Mississippi's theory that turns on the existence or the non-existence of a postmark. And that's probably a good thing, because the Post Service has made clear that they don't even postmark all of the mail. And postmarks have their own problems. I mean, the main mailbox, the post box in post office rather in Chicago stays open 24/7. So when all the other polls close in Illinois or every other state at 8 p.m., the post office is still open till midnight. Now, I'm not here to say that there could ever be voting fraud in Chicago. But the possibility that there's a 4-hour window where people could go get their ballots, absentee ballots postmarked after all of the returns are in, and they know that, oh, this is the election where these things could turn the result, that does not seem entirely
So is your argument that we could...
You have 8 states that don't even...
No, see, yeah. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. And I'm sure you guys are going to know that, like you guys know that Justice Jackson said that she was confused at least 8 times during this. I turned it up as loud as it would go. It's sad, Jay Wills, that this even needs debating. Thank you. Yes, it is sad. It is sad. It is completely sad. It means right now we are $88 away from the first additional hour of the show. Thank you so much. And 38 away from Bellavision. They also have They also have to end ballot curing. Yeah, they got to do something. It got fixed. Muffin Rando is my favorite mod. People should not be voting by mail 2 months in advance of Election Day. Well, see, that's the thing too. Is they're gonna? I don't know if we're gonna hear about, but that was part of the thing too, because they have. Please turn the video audio up. I turned it up as loud as I could get it to go. I mean, I apologize. I got it up as loud as it'll go. That's the problem too, is because they have a way to recall ballots. She should just announce when she's not confused. That would be a lot easier. Is confused her new word to avoid saying I don't understand? Well, she says I don't understand too. Mitochondrial DNA is maternal, can be traced for thousands of years. Jewish princess. Okay. Salad talk. Okay. It was sufficiently loud for me, Jim. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I had it turned up as loud as it'll go. I can't make it go any higher than 600% higher.
require a postmark.
Okay, that's about the postmark. I have one more here. We have Sonia Mayor. Sonia Mayor thinks she gets a real zinger telling a GOP lawyer, maybe we should have another president now because Florida's military ballots came in after Election Day in 2000. He responds, with all due respect, that's the biggest, reddest of red herrings. So,
you believe that absentee voting by the military and overseas voters, the various laws, that federal laws under which states have proceeded with respect to those votes are illegal?
No,
or they're not saying what everybody has understood them to say, that states can accept absentee ballots after the election?
So
military and overseas ballots?
I don't think any vote is unlawful. Let me try to address how I think you would reconcile UACAVA with the Election Day statutes. And to start, I think it's important to recognize that UACAVA is not limited to the federal general election. So UACAVA applies to primary elections, to runoff elections, and special elections, and federal general elections. The Election Day statutes only apply to the general federal election. So the way I would reconcile the two is to say that all the references in UACAVA to state deadlines are perfectly fine, not preempted at all, not displaced at all, not even anomalous with respect to the primaries, the runoffs, and the special elections. Then the court has a job to do in the federal general election as to say, like, kind of which is the specific, which is the general. I think the more logical way to do it would be to say that with the understanding in this court, if you decide in our favor, that for the federal general election, the ballots have to be in by Election Day, I would say...
Maybe we should have another president now, because wasn't it in Florida that they were counting military votes after receipt?
So with all due respect, that is the reddest of red herrings, because what happened...
You hear what she said? They were counting military votes after their receipt. How would they count them before their receipt? You can't count military votes before they come in. And they know exactly what military votes are coming from overseas. They know about it. They know they're coming. I mean, it's crazy. Not all Puerto Ricans are as dumb as that woman. Please don't put me in the same sentence as her. Okay, sorry. Yeah, way to be disingenuous about an argument, Sotomayor, definitely. Hello. We definitely would have a different president than we had in 2020, that's for sure, if they didn't count after the election. They were counting them for weeks, remember? Oh, weeks, ballots, weeks.
In the 2000 election in Florida is that pursuant to a consent decree that was entered by a federal court because Florida was violating the principal provision of UACAVA,
which says you have to give the absentee ballots to the overseas voters 45 days in advance. Because Florida was violating that, there had to be a consent decree to create a remedy that was not provided
There,
under.
what happened was that the judge made up the deadline, not the state.
Yeah, see, so, the judge made up the deadline, not the state. See, she knows she was wrong. She was just doing it trying to get a gotcha. Interrupter in chief. Will Trump nominate a fourth SCOTUS justice? Notorious RBG 2.0. I think so. What other Supreme Court cases you think the Supremes will take maybe a gun case? I hope so. I hope they're going to take a gun case. I don't know what the fuck they've been doing with these gun cases. I really don't. You saw a report that a gallon of gas in Cuba is $60. Okay, back to the program. Wow. K. Bean, best mod the internet. Sotomayor is the least impressive of the bunch. Yeah. Among the lowest IQ of those on the bench, she should be impeached and removed. These far less extremist women on SCOTUS are too emotionally unstable to make informed decisions. Their arguments are based on hurt feelings and desperation. Everything should be based on the law and the Constitution. Another tidbit from the 2005, Gore's lawyers was asked if the decision was overturned, did they have an alternative set of electors? They answered no. In 2020, Trump attempted to make sure he had an alternative set of electors, and then all hell broke loose. Yeah. Jane, you ignorant slut. So here's the news story. Supreme Court lawyer nearly stumped in Mississippi mail-in ballot case, forcing liberal justices to run interference. I didn't know you could recall your ballot. Yeah, I didn't know either, and I just heard that today in the arguments today, that they said that you could recall your ballots from the post office. Obama-era DEI guy busted for dealing coke for the Sinaloa New Jalisco cartel, New Generation. The cartel Jalisco New Generation.
And the Supreme Court is hearing arguments today on whether states can count late arriving mail ballots. The case for Mississippi could affect voters in 14 states and D.C. that have grace periods for mail ballots. A ruling is expected by late June, just in time for the 2026 midterm elections. Election officials warn of confusion and disenfranchisement if states must make quick changes.
Wow. Everything's always about disenfranchisement. That's what they always say. Everything's about disenfranchisement. Oh, yeah. Mississippi Solicitor General was caught flat-footed during oral arguments in a critical mail-in ballot case before the Supreme Court on Monday, prompting liberal justices to step in and help him out. Scott Stewart, who successfully argued the 2022 case Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health, in which the court struck down Roe v. Wade. Why would you recall your ballot? Because you change your mind. Change your mind. You say, I changed my mind. I don't want to vote for that person. I guess there's a way to do it through the post office. You can recall your ballot. I guess. I don't know. He was staggered by a hypothetical question from conservative justice while defending a Magnolia state law allowing the counting of mail-in ballots up to 5 days after voting closes, so long as they're postmarked by Election Day. After Trump nominated Justice Amy Coney Barrett pressed Stewart about whether states could allow voters to recall mail ballots before Election Day, liberal Ketanji Brown Jackson intervened. The case is not about Mississippi practice or policy relating to recalling ballots, said Jackson, who added that she was a little confused by those kind of policy questions. The newest justice told Stewart the longtime practice of allowing states to run their own elections actually is pointing in your favor. So she basically says the states can do whatever they want. Like they can say, no, we're going to start voting a year ahead of time. We're going to do voting right now today. Everyone votes today. The unique case pitted the red state of Mississippi against Republican National Committee, State Libertarian Party, and Trump administration, all of whom opposed the pandemic-era policy. Yes, that's what Sam Pugh. At least 14 other states have similar laws, including California, New York, and Texas. Nearly 30 states have grace periods for absentee ballots, which are most often used by the military and U.S. citizens overseas. That's bullshit. They're not most often used by them. That's a lie. That is a lie. A total lie. In another exchange, Gorsuch asked Stewart whether states could allow voters to film themselves postmarking a ballot on Election Day, then have their brother submit it 3 weeks later. That's interesting. I remember a study group that was studying for the LSAT and looking at law schools, looking at law schools. PSU 90s. How the F did one of my classmates get into that prestigious law school? Oh, man. Looking at scores, looking at law schools. Oh, my God. How many do-overs do you get? I don't know. Women in power tend to ruin everything. Clowns can't do democracy. Wow. That's why it should be one day. That's right. That's why it should be done. Repeal the 19th. And why do you forget the premise? Justice Sotomayor interjected after Mississippi admitted he had some concerns about that scenario. Like, if the state wants to make a relative, a notary, a military officer, if they wants to make it to the Supreme Court justice, they want to make it anyone, as long as it's done by Election Day, that's what counts, correct? She continued. Conservative Justice Samuel Alito then told Stewart that Sotomayor was asking you what I think she intends to be a friendly question. All three Democrat-appointed justices sound sympathetic to Mississippi, while conservative Justice Gorsuch, Alito, Thomas, and Kavanaugh appeared to lean towards overturning the state law. So it's going to come down to Coney Barrett or Roberts. Paul Clement, representing the Libertarian Party of Mississippi, argued that by setting the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November as the National Election Day in 1845, Congress inherently required that voting wrap up on that day. Yeah, that's Election Day. If somebody in Gulfport the day after the election asks, is the election over? The common sense answer is, no, it's not. The ballots are still coming in. That reality gives the lie to the idea that we have a uniform national election day. Yeah, Harriet Hagman from Oklahoma, right? Wyoming. Pretty good. At the same time, the attorney insisted he was not arguing to make early voting illegal, a point which all sides agreed. The case, Watson v. RNC, comes amid President Trump's push for Congress to tighten restrictions on mail-in ballots and enact a proof of citizenship requirement to vote in federal elections as part of the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility America Act, SAVE Act, which faces an uphill battle in the Senate. It goes on and on, my friend. That's a literal interpretation. Yeah. That's the literal interpretation. All pandemic changes should be revoked. Yes, they should. Thank you so much for the donation. Was that loud enough for everybody? Because I barely heard that. I don't know what's going on. With that means we are now $83 away from adding the first additional hour to the show and $33 away from Bellavision. Thank you all so much. Everyone has been so generous tonight to start off. Thank you so much. Sorry, double law school, PSU, Portland State University, Havana and Willamette. I'm here to hear Jim try to pronounce Willamette. Planned-demic. Fixed it. Thank you. Pretty loud. Thank you. Okay. Hold on one second. Quick check. It was okay on volume? Okay. Okay. All right. Nothing there. Nothing there. Okay. Pretty loud. Plenty loud. Okay. Thank you. So SCOTUS should be deciding if non-citizens can vote. That's already been decided they can't. I don't know why they would. I don't know why they would have to come up with that. It's just they can't. They're not allowed. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. Willamette. Willamette. I don't know. Still can't pronounce Wilmette. Willamette. Watson v. RNC is about a simple principle. Ballots must be received by Election Day. RNC Election Integrity Communications Director Ali Triolo said in a statement after oral arguments. This prevents elections from dragging on for days and weeks after voters have cast their ballots, causing confusion and undermining our elections. He said, adding that 83% of voters agree ballots should be in by election day, and 78% say it makes election more secure. Like Manatee? Willamette? Is it Willamette? It's not Willamette. Willamette? Is it not Willamette? That can't be correct. That can't be right. It can't be right. That can't be right. The Epoch Times says Supreme Court seems skeptical of state law. Nope, it's Willamette. Yeah, that's what I said. Willamette. Lol. Wow. Lots of people here tonight. 121 so far. Willie met? What did Willie meet? The state Republican Party argues that federal law prevails over the Mississippi law. Emphasis on the second syllable. Willamette. Willamette. I don't know, man. You got. I'm done. I grow tired of this. The U.S. Supreme Court seems skeptical of the Mississippi law. So we saw that. Mississippi law allows for a 5-day grace period. The law was enacted in July 2020 during the COVID pandemic to provide flexibility to voters. Well, anything that was enacted during COVID should be gone. So we'll see. 2 names, Will Emmett. Will Emmett. Okay. And this was, Justice is skeptical of counting late arriving ballots. And then there was one clown. There was one clown that put it on. That's like, oh my God. Is it Ray Lee or Raleigh? I don't know. Definitely no Portlandians in chat, damn it. Will Emmett. So so that's that. And then we got another case that came out of Supreme Court today. The Supreme Court may have put a dent in the announced plans of demon rat politicians to arrest ICE officers and unleash sweeping prosecutions once they retake power. The court just reversed the Second Circuit, holding that a Vermont officer had immunity in a protester's injury. So there was a protester that the cop grabbed and put in an armbar to get him out and walked him, and the person got like, oh, my arm is hurt now. And, well, and in Zorn v. Linton, the court voted 6-3 that officers are generally shielded from civil liability unless a prior case law puts the unlawfulness of an action beyond debate. While a civil case, the court has shown the same deference in criminal cases. The expectation is that civil and criminal cases will be filed against ICE officers and other federal officials. Indeed, some politicians have insisted on barring masks to facilitate such lawsuits or prosecutions. Here is the per curiam decision. Democrats will always seek to prosecute and persecute the heroes in ICE who place their lives on the line every day to protect us from murderers and drug traffickers. But demon rats only care about power and truly despise the American people. It's true. Yeah, there's a case. Illegal immigrant accused of killing Loyola student released under Biden. The Supreme Court reverses lower court on qualified immunity for Vermont police sergeant who arrested protester. Supreme Court on Monday ruled that a Vermont state police sergeant is entitled to qualified immunity in a lawsuit brought by a protester who said she was injured when an officer used a wrist lock to remove her from a sit-in at the state capitol. What's it say? Stillicom? In an unsigned per curiam opinion, the court reversed Second Circuit Court of Appeals in Zorn v. Linton, holding that existing precedent did not clearly establish that Sergeant Jacob Zorn's specific conduct violated the Constitution. Putting someone in a wrist lock to make them walk away, and that's just how you control people. What are they supposed to do? Go, please move? No. Okay, I can't do anything. I can't force you to move. I mean, I know that's what they want. They want to, basically have the police not be able to do nothing to people blocking roads and doing shit. Oh, well. This is very generous. I have to say, thank you so much to K Bean, who donated the $38 to activate Bellavision. K Bean, you didn't have to go with the whole $38. 38 though, because you could have went with just 25. That would have done it immediately, and we were only 33. But I don't know when this came in. But anyway, so let me get this math done in my head now because this is driving me nuts. So 38 minus 83. I think that brings us to 45. I think that brings us to 45 for an extra hour. I think that's what it brings us to. 45. I think so. But thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, K-Bean. Right? Let me do this math. I'm going to bed soon. Don't have a dog. I'm going to bed soon. I need some Bella time. Well, thank you so much. Right? So that's right. So 38. So that's 58. Yeah, 45. So 45 away from the first extra hour. Thank you all so much. I knew Willamette was just to mess with Greg. Willamette was just to mess with Greg. Bella time. Ba-na-na-na. Watch Bonds, Skyfall, Coconuts, and Rats. Demon Rats begin with Eat Their Own. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the Second Circuit held Zorn was not entitled to qualified immunity, with the 3 liberal justices dissenting. Of course, the 3 liberal justices dissenting. Rejecting the use of force arguments. We reverse. The justice said officers are generally shielded from civil liability. That's a prior case puts unlawfulness beyond debate. Because the Second Circuit failed to identify a case where an officer taking similar action in similar circumstances was held to have violated the Constitution, Zorn was entitled to qualified immunity. We grant this petition for writ certiorari and reverse the judgment of the Second Circuit. The case arose from a 2015 sit-in by healthcare protesters at the Vermont Capitol on Governor Peter Shumlin's inauguration day. After the building closed, police moved to arrest demonstrators who refused to leave. According to the opinion, protester Sheila Linton remained seated and linked arms with others. Zorn warned her he would have to use force and took her arm, placed it behind her back, applied pressure to her wrist, and lifted her up to her feet. Linton later sued, alleging physical and psychological injuries. Who put lipstick on Bella? Oh. Well, that's just her face. That's just her face. That's just her face. Let me try to fix the camera up a little bit here for both of us. All right. I feel better now. Let me get Bella's camera all fixed up. That's about the best I can do from the way she's laying. Bella ain't no pig. That's right. Good night, Hank. Thanks for being here. Says, yeah, me and the cat's going to hit it also. Everyone have a great night. Thanks, Mons. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, Hank. The Supreme Court said the Second Circuit relied too heavily on its earlier decision in Amnesty America v. West Hartford, finding that case did not clearly establish that using a routine wrist lock to move a resistant protester after warning her without more violates the Constitution. Like, what? What are you supposed to do? Get a letter? On that basis, Justice concluded Zorn was entitled to qualified immunity and reversed the lower court. Justice Sotomayor dissented, joined by Kagan and Ketanji Brown Jackson. Jackson. Wow. She argued the court had improperly stepped in with an extraordinary remedy of a summary reversal and said a jury could find the officer used excessive force against a nonviolent protester engaged in passive resistance. How are you supposed to get rid of the passive resistance? This is people don't understand nothing, man. It's a Chinogan turn for Stillwater through Oregon City. Yeah. A jury could find that Zorn violated Linton's clearly established Fourth Amendment rights. You don't have a Fourth Amendment right to trespass somewhere. When you're told to leave and you don't leave and the place is closed, well, what the hell are they talking about? The majority gives officers license to inflict gratuitous pain on nonviolent protesters even when there's no threat to the officer. These people, man. Yeah, sort of minor is ridiculous. Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. This is plainly inconsistent with the Fourth Amendment and fundamental guarantees that officers may only use the amount of force that is necessary under the circumstances. That was the amount of force that was necessary to get her up and move her. I mean, what are you talking about? These people are crazy, man. Seriously, crazy. The Hill just has a Supreme Court backs officer seeking immunity from Vermont House protesters' excessive force claims. A police officer that forcibly moved. All he did was a wrist lock to lift her up and get her to go with him. I mean, the ruling was unsigned but appeared to split 6-3 among ideological lines. Officers began by removing protesters after they refused to leave. When Linton repeatedly refused to stand up, Court filings show police sergeant Jacob Zorn used a wrist lock to bring her to her feet. Linton then sued him for damages. Government officials are entitled to qualified immunity from such lawsuits unless their conduct violates a clearly established constitutional right. You don't have a constitutional right to trespass. You don't. Yeah. Here's the thing. If you don't follow law enforcement's instructions, you get hurt. You could get hurt. Fight it in court. Don't fight the cops. Yeah. You don't want to hold court in the streets. I don't know if anybody's seen the movie The Town. When Jim, well, Jim, this teacher told me, well, this one's a real gem. So, said that he was holding court in the streets. That meant he wasn't going back to jail. Zorn appealed to the Supreme Court after a lower court found a case could proceed. It ruled its precedent hold that gratuitous use of the rear wrist lock on a protester passive resisting is excessive force. What does gratuitous mean? The Supreme Court reversed that ruling, saying the precedent did not clearly establish that Zorn's specific conduct violated the Fourth Amendment. The intervention sparked a public dissent from the court's 3 liberal justices. Don't call them liberals or leftists. One-sided approach. Yes, that's a choice. They have consequences. That's right. The majority today gives officers license to inflict gratuitous pain. It's called pain compliance. Pain compliance. It's taught in every police department. You use pain to get people to comply. It's not going to cause permanent injury. It just causes pain. This is plainly inconsistent with the Fourth Amendment. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you're making your choice of what you think was appropriate force. Sotomayor breaks with Supreme Court with 3 blunt warnings. Sotomayor issued 3 warnings in 3 cases on Monday, including 2 around police immunity. This is all because kids aren't being spanked. Yeah. She wrote 3 dissenting opinions to list the decision released Monday, joined on 2 by Kagan and Brown. With the 3rd case, she stood alone. She stood alone. It's not like he tased her. I don't know, maybe he should have. Across the 3 cases, Sotomayor sketched a through line that the court was tightening shields around government power while loosening safeguards for individuals, including protesters seeking to avoid needless pain, prisoners seeking probative DNA testing, and reporters seeking answers from public officials. In her words, these moves risk gutting the deterrent effect of the Fourth Amendment. Fourth Amendment protects you from unlawful search or seizure. If you're trespassing and asked to leave and you refuse to leave, you're going to get moved. Allowing executions to proceed without the world ever knowing. What DNA might show, and left a clear attack on the First Amendment's role in protecting our democracy. It's a republic, lady. Shut up. Protests, pain compliance, and qualified immunity. In one case, Zorn versus Linton, the court overturned a lower court's block on qualified immunity for an officer who had used a rear wrist lock, pain compliance technique on a nonviolent protester. Just because you're nonviolent doesn't mean you can't get used by force. If you refuse to get out of your car, they're going to use force to get you out of your car. I mean, what are these people talking about? The officer, shut up, Newsweek, the bulletin. The officer had previously been found to have violated the Constitution by the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, meaning he was not entitled to qualified immunity. Yeah, some people will not comply by going limp. They will be moved the easy way or the hard way, but they will be moved. Yeah. The majority today gives officers license to inflict gratuitous pain. I hope so. I want some more wood shampoo. Bring back the wood shampoo. The justice also accused the court of working a troubling asymmetry where it eagerly protects officers but rarely intervenes when lower courts wrongly grant them immunity. Arresting a reporter for asking questions. Another case of Villarreal versus Alanes focused on the arrest of a journalist who gained police information from a source in Texas. Saw the majority deny certiorari, a legal order from a higher court to the lower, to the reporter's challenge of her detention. What's up? Yeah. If you can remember, you were tased. You weren't tased enough. I got tased before. I remember it. The people that talk back, unbelievable. Yeah. Too many protesters are assaulting officers. Nothing happens to them. Touching them is assault, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Lucky number 7. Priscilla Lagabrodorleca Villarreal, a Laredo, Texas citizen journalist, was arrested under a rarely used state statute after she texted a police officer's source to corroborate details of 2 local incidents and then published them. Sotomayor said it was an obvious First Amendment violation and warned the court's decision opened up potential for more infringements. No reasonable officer would have thought he could have arrested Villarreal consistent with the Constitution. The Fifth Circuit's approach invoking qualified immunity because officers relied on a statute no high state court had invalidated, threatened routine news gathering, and invited retaliatory arrest. She said her colleagues backed the lower court's decision. What's it say? 90s, our Chief Potter said jaywalking is the first stepping stone towards anarchy. Today, our Portland chief cries when he talks about ICE arresting a prostitution gang leader from Venezuela. Yeah. The hard way is the painful way. Yeah, it is. It is. The Fifth Circuit's approach involving qualified immunity because officers relied on a statute. Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry. DNA testing and due process. Well, so if it's a statute that hasn't been overturned, the police are supposed to follow the statute. If the statute hasn't been overturned, the police officers are supposed to follow the statute. In the third case, Reed v. Gortz revolves around whether the court should review a Fifth Circuit decision rejecting death row prisoner Rodney Reed's due process challenge, which came after Texas refused to allow DNA testing of the alleged murder weapon in his case, a belt. The court declined to hear the case. Reed was convicted over a 96 killing for Stacy Stites, the 19-year-old woman who was allegedly raped before her murder as she was on her way to work in Bastrop, Texas. Reed has long argued it was her fiancé, Jimmy Fennell, who killed her after finding out the pair were having an affair. State and lower courts have refused to DNA test the belt, which Reed's defense team had offered to pay for under Texas rules around contaminated evidence. Sotomayor said that DNA testing could exonerate Reed. How could it exonerate him? I mean, seriously, how could it exonerate him? If it was her husband, his DNA would most likely be on the belt. And identify the real killer, potentially meaning an innocent man is put to death. I mean, honestly, it's not like DNA on her fingernails. That's DNA on a belt. Like, whose belt was it? Was it her belt at her house? I mean, a wife's belt probably is going to have husband's DNA on it. Modern laboratories, including Texas's own, can detect and account for contamination and still reliably include or exclude suspects, Sotomayor said. Oh, really? They can't. That's a lie. They can detect and account for contamination. There is no way for them to do that. That is a lie. It's inexplicable why the Bastrop County District Attorney's Office refused to allow DNA testing of a belt that was used to kill Stites, despite the very substantial possibility that such testing could exculpate Reed and identify the real killer. I don't agree. If Reed's DNA wasn't on the belt, he wouldn't be the killer. I don't know. You think so? Maybe. What if he was wearing gloves? What if he was wearing gloves? That one needs a second look because the DNA is not on. Because his DNA is not on the belt. Black man having an affair with a white woman. The hubby did it. The black man was charged. You think so? Was there no other? What was the evidence? I don't know what the evidence was in the case. What was the evidence to convict him? Just that he was black? You telling me that was the evidence? He was a black man? What was the evidence presented at trial? I don't know about it, but I'm just saying, like, this whole thing about, like, not finding, like, the absence of DNA doesn't prove anything. It really doesn't. The absence of DNA just proves the person could have been wearing gloves. Reed was having an affair with Reed. Bastrop, Texas, yes. Okay. Maybe he was wearing gloves. What was his motive? I don't know. Maybe she was breaking up with him. I don't know. Motive's not really required. I don't know. I don't have an answer, really. What the hell is this? Hello. Oh, so this is a race thing? Didn't the jury find him guilty? What if Fennell's DNA is on the belt? It creates reasonable doubt. I don't know if it does. Black man was seen with her hours before. Oh, that's not part of the story. Okay. And then I got this story. It says Trump says no DHS funding until the Save America bill is passed. President Trump said on March 22nd that Congress should not pass a measure to fund the Department of Homeland Security until Democrats help to support a bill that requires people registering to vote provide proof of U.S. citizenship. You remember it happening? Okay. But if Reed's DNA is on the belt, he'd definitely be guilty. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know if that definitely proves anything. That's the thing about DNA stuff. I think DNA is widely, people rely on it way too much to prove or disprove anything when it's not like, there's no guarantee when somebody touches something, it's going to have DNA left on it. There just isn't. You know, if you don't have any skin cells or if you're not like sweating at all and no skin cells drop on something, you might not leave DNA on anything. In the Evening Post on Truth Social, President Trump said the Republicans in Congress should not make any deal with the Demon Rats over funding DHS until the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act is also passed. DHS has remained unfunded since February 13th, leading to some Transportation Security Administration shortfalls at major U.S. airports. The passage of the SAVE Act, Trump wrote on social media, is far more important than anything else. I think so. Trump said he wouldn't sign any other measure until Congress passed the voting bill. The measure should also include their approval of voter ID with picture, citizenship to vote, no mail-in voting with exceptions, all paper ballots, no men and women's sports, and no transgender mutilation of our precious children. He was found guilty because she was white and separated from her husband having an affair with a black man. That was not okay in Podunk, Texas. Wow. I'll take your word for it. I don't know. I don't know anything about the case, so that was kind of thrown in that case. It was the 3 cases she was upset about. But I have to think though that Thomas would have took the case if he thought it was racially motivated. The GOP has resisted Demon Rat lawmakers' demands for reform to ICE. Yeah, well. In a social media post, Trump also called on Senate Majority Leader John Thune to clearly identify Republicans who may vote against the SAVE Act. Bastrop was very country back then, still is. Hey, Brian Ogden's here. He says, hey, hello, happy Monday. Trump said Republicans should kill the legislative filibuster and stay in Washington during the Easter holiday if necessary. Over the weekend, the president confirmed that he would put ICE agents in airports. He did. Yes, he did. Video and photographs uploaded online show that ICE agents were already being seen at airports on the morning of March 23rd. Proponents of the SAVE Act, including Trump, have argued that it would help deter voter fraud, and they have asserted that there are a large number of people who are in the country illegally who vote in U.S. elections. Well, I mean, there's 50, 70, 80 million illegals in the country. If 1% of them vote, that's still 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 people. It's a lot. Democrats, the Demon Rats, and their other critics of the bill have argued that it could disenfranchise Americans who lack ready access to passports, birth certificates, and other form of identification. Oh, well. Oregon is a cesspool. Portland jury just acquitted a black man who was called the N-word after he attempted deletion at a bus stop and another homeless, unhoused criminal. Yeah, I saw that, man. It's crazy. It's just nuts. Nuts what's going on. Nuts, nuts, nuts. The Brennan Center, shut up, said that around 21 million Americans lack ready access to such documentation. I guess they can't vote then. In an op-ed article by Chuck Scummer, published in the New York Times, he criticized some of Trump's arguments, suggesting the bill is a thinly veiled attempt by Republicans to help themselves win the 2026 midterm elections. Well, the fact that you think all your voters are people who can't get ID or something or don't have any proof that they're American citizens is a little more scarier than what you're blaming the Republicans for. Polls have shown the vast majority of Americans support mandating photo ID to vote in elections. In a Pew Research poll released in 2025, 83% of U.S. adults supported having all voters show a government-issued form of identification. Only 16% opposed it. Yeah. Yeah, what does showing an ID do if they're giving IDs to illegals? I mean, I don't know. And then the numbers included 71% of Demon Rats and 76% of black voters all agree. Yeah, you have to have photo ID and prove who you are. So, I mean, it's just common sense, man. It's just common sense. Just total common sense. Yeah, and the redistricting wars are not vote farming. Low, yeah. Gateway Pundit just says, Trump says no DHS funding deal without the SAVE Act for as long as it takes. During a phone call with News Nation correspondent Hannah Brandt, President Trump delivered a clear message that the radical demon rats holding the Department of Homeland Security hostage. No deal on funding until they pass the SAVE Act. I hope Trump means it. Me too. Me too. Demon rats are now scrambling to cut a deal on DHS after a month of obstruction following Trump's order to deploy ICE to the airports. Homeless in San Francisco being paid to sign petitions under someone else's name and address. It's crazy. It is. The radical left, demon rats, have hurt so many people with their vicious and uncaring ways. What they have done to the Department of Homeland Security and our fascist TSA officers, and most importantly, the great people of our country, is an absolute disgrace. Disgrace. If the demon rats do not allow for just and proper security at our airports and elsewhere throughout the country, ICE will do the job better than ever done before. The fascist demon rats will never protect America, but the Republicans will, just like the radical left allowed millions of criminals to pour into our country. They look forward to moving ICE in on Monday and have already told them to get ready. No more waiting, no more games. Demon rats are now panicking, but Trump won't allow any agreement until he passes the SAVE Act. Maybe DHS and TSA and ATF need to be scrapped and replaced with ICE. Yes, yes, yes. California homelessness all makes sense now. Pat Hurd was like a couple of bucks as well. Yeah, it wasn't nothing. It was like $5 or something. It was like not a lot of money. First, I asked him how long he's been prepared to have ICE agents help out at airports for as long as it takes. Then I asked him, some lawmakers are saying they should just fund TSA while they negotiate on DHS. What do you think about that? President said, now that I did this, demon rats want to make a deal, and I don't think any deal should be made on this until they approve Save America Act. Okay, so you have a scoop. Scoop! Thankfully, some normalcy. I'm a mod on a flat earth debunk channel. Oh. Just hours after his explosive phone call at News Nation, President Trump ramped up the pressure on the radical left demon rats and any wavering Republicans, making it abundantly clear there will be no compromise on funding the Department of Homeland Security until the SAVE Act is passed. Trump also turned his attention to Senate leadership, specifically calling John Thune to take aggressive action. I don't think we should make any deal with the crazy, country-destroying, radical left demon rats unless and until they vote with Republicans to pass the Save America Act. It's far more important than anything else that we're doing in the Senate, and that includes giving these same terrible people, the demon rats who are to blame for this mess, a $5 billion cut in ICE funding, a deal which, even when disguised as something else, is unacceptable to me and the American people. Yeah, they were trying to pull some crap. Didn't work. Didn't work. Put it all together, and also let Leader Thune clearly identify the few Republicans that are voting against America. They will never be elected again. Never elected again. In other words, lump everything together as one and vote. Kill the filibuster and stay in D.C. for Easter. It's necessary. Make America great again. Yeah, this is Trump has a new plan to solve Homeland Security voter ID disputes. If you have to have voter ID, Dems will lose 50 seats. They'll lose a lot. They'll lose a lot. They'll just cheat and lie, though. That's the thing. They'll cheat and lie. They'll say, oh, we checked ID. Trump is demanding that any deal with Homeland Security include an agreement on requiring photo ID and proof of citizenship in federal elections. Well, the man merges two battles that Congress failed to resolve. I don't think you should make any deal with the crazies. We saw that. In other words, lump everything together and use it. Vote. They'll have to figure something out. Yeah, someone's going to have to figure something out. This is crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And speaking of ICE agents being in the airports, it says Trump tells ICE agents not to wear masks while assisting TSA at the airports. Yeah, B-Hop says, we passed the big, beautiful bill. Now we just have to pass a smaller amount of huge bills. Huge, very huge. Kermit Gosnell died. It's super hot where he's going. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Kermit Gosnell. They found like 265 fetuses rotting in his house or something like that, right? Like flies and stuff everywhere. Crazy. Fletcher Boy says, I don't have to show ID at my favorite liquor store, but I'm 67 and have been a frequent customer of the same store for 25 plus years. But the grocery store IDs me for beer every time. Yeah, they have policies. Gross, total gross, yes.
That there was. Well, first, you got it first. That there was evidence that China had accessed the voter registration databases of American voters, just like they did in Great Britain. In Great Britain, it was a scandal. In America, it was a hush-hush cover-up. The CIA, other intelligence agencies not telling the American people or Congress about it. Today, we've got a new angle on that story. Why did the intelligence communities keep it from the president, from the Congress, from the American people? Well, according to the intelligence community's ombudsman, because the intelligence community analysts on China didn't like President Trump or his policies, so they put their personal political interest ahead of country, and they intentionally kept it secret. In fact, they even used words like vulgarian to talk about their commander-in-chief, who they should have been giving the intelligence to. All of those documents from the intelligence ombudsman, as well as the intelligence analyst reports that are the basis of our story, available at justthenews.com. With that, I'm going to turn to my amazing.
Wow. Yeah, so some of these chats are very interesting here. Do this. Go over here. Do this. Says, hey, hey, ho, ho, save America, act without the zombie filibuster. She's gonna blow. Holdouts, Murkowski, Collins, Flipped, and Thune. See comments for more. Thank you. Thank you so much. One hopes. One hopes. That's what scares them. Yes, it is. Because they don't want us to know. And I love how they always blame Russia when it's always China. Yeah, it is. It's always China. The Chinese have been at war with us for a while. We got to wake up and realize it. Like they kept it secret. Yes. When will they care more about the country than their effing bank accounts? I don't know. Our Mendiki says, I had to undergo a medic. I don't know. I had to go and go facial scan and submit a photo of my state ID to get an insurance policy from Allstate. Go figure. Yeah. True. Yes, sir. Like our Bulgarian president. I do. I like him. Utah asked for ID for liquor purchases even if you're as old as Bernie Sanders' grandpapa. Yeah. It's crazy. So Trump on Monday told ICE officials not to wear masks during their deployments at airports nationwide. I mean, I can kind of understand why, because you're in the airport. Lal Medeki. I don't know. Medeki, I don't know. Hey, what's right on? Gal says, hey, Jim, Chad, Bella Boo, what's up, everybody? The swamp rats are generally scared of Trump. Thank you so much for the 10. Wow. Who knew an ombudsman had such authority? I know, right? With that, that means we are now just $35 away from adding an extra hour to the show. Thank you all so much for the donations. You guys are so generous. It's greatly appreciated. Awesome, 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 awesome. Fletcher Boy, awesome. Thank you. As well they should be. We need base Mike Lee in charge of the Senate. He takes no shit. He takes no guff. Yes. Big man takes no guff. Big man. Sorry. Yeah, Beanie, K-Bean, what's up? Thank you all so much. So great. Awesome, 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 awesome. ICE agents have been sent to airports to aid TSA in dealing with the long lines stemming from the staffing shortages and no-shows. Ordinarily, ICE agents wear masks during enforcement operations, a point of contention from the demon rats and the anti-ICE activists. So TSA is mad at ICE for solving the problem. Now they won't get paid or get attention. They will. I think the demon rats are going to have to pay. They're going to have to give in. It says, Jim, did you get the rant money? No, I didn't get the rant money. Hey, Brian Ogden for $2. Thank you so much. I'll have to look right now. Let me see. Thank you. Thank you for the $2. That means we are now $33 away from the first additional hour of the show. Thank you so much. Let me look at this rant real quick to see if there was a rant. You like Mike Lee? Yeah, I like Mike Lee's not on my list of commies. Let me see here. Rants. Oh my God, I did get a $5 Uzelian. Sorry, Uzelian, I didn't see this. Law because of population and wages in Huntsville, Alabama has a higher GDP per capita than Canada. That's awesome. Thank you for the 5. Thank you so much. Wow. So that means we're now $28 away from adding an extra hour to the show. And I saw KPT said something about PayPal, so I will check PayPal right now. Thank you so much. PayPal will get you to 23 after Brian. Let me see what the PayPal is. That's $10 from KPT. Thank you so much, KPT. That 10, that puts us now at $18, just $18 away from adding the first extra hour to the show. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, Jim, missed the rant call out. No problem. No problem, Gundam Zig. I usually check it. Out of fun coupon still tomorrow, Brian Ogden. No problem, but thank you so much for $2. I greatly appreciate it. That means we are now just $16 away from adding the first extra hour to the show. Do I sound like one of those Barker, like what they call them, 16? Yes, $16, $16 away. Do I sound like one of those Carnival Barker guys when I say that, the way I say it, and I repeat it over and over again? Jim's like a vibrating mattress. I keep them coming. Took me a week to get my birth certificate when I needed a secret clearance to work in the Abraham Lincoln. Called my vital stats in Portland. Easy peasy. Yeah, you can get it. I mean, you can just get it. All you can do is just request it, and they send it to you. You pay them money. Bob Barker. Do I sound like Bob Barker? Please spay and neuter your pets. Please spay and neuter your pets. Auctioneer voice. Ed Sullivan. Okay. I'm not trying to do auctioneer stuff. Hey, we got to go 20, give me 20 more. Go get next hour. Go. Sold, American. Hey, look at that. Jim tells you one gifted membership from Charles and Company. Thank you, Charles. Yes, let's see who got that membership. That says that Jackie Randazzo received the gifted membership from Charles. Jackie Randazzo. Rally time. That's right. And with that, that means we are just $10 away with that $6 gifted membership. That puts us just $10 away from adding the first extra hour to the show. Thank you all so much. There's Rumble loading. Yes, la. Rally time. Auctioneer Jim. Thank you so much. We are now just $10 away. Yeah, most counties it costs like $15 for a copy. I do think you push Ed Sullivan here and there. I try. I'm slow again. Don't worry about it. I'll try it out. So Trump says, I'm a big proponent of ICE wearing masks as they search for and are forced to deal with hardened criminals, many of whom were let into our country by sleepy Joe Biden. His wonderful border czar, cackling Kamala, she never even went to the border through their insane open border policy. I would greatly appreciate, however, no mask when helping our country out of the demon rat-caused mess at the airports. Thank you very much for your attention to this matter. The DHS shutdown has lasted well over a month and shows no sign of imminent end. says, I got a certified copy of my birth certificate when I got my real ID in 2023. It took about a week. That's all it takes, about a week. I mean, if you know where it is, if there's certain places where you can go, like if you can go there, you can usually get it. You can request one online. You pay them money, and they'll mail it to you. I think as long as your address or something like that. Come on, baby, light my fire. Greatest Al Sullivan show. We got this new band here. Well, folks, we got this new band here tonight going to perform you for the very first time live. They're called The Doors. And it's, come on, baby, light my fire. Charles with another Jim Tells You Gifted membership. That means with that one, it goes to World Radio 332. World Radio 332 received one gifted membership from Charles and Company. Thank you so much, Charles. With that, that puts us now to just $4 away, just $4 away from adding the first extra hour to the show. I went to Vital Stats and got one for my adult daughter in 15 minutes. Yeah, that's what you can do. Yep. Daughter's birth certificate took about 10 minutes in person. That's what I'm saying. As long as you know, it depends. You used to have to go to the hospital you were born in, but now you just got to go to the county. The county keeps the records. B-Hop says, I got a replacement one a few years ago from another state, from some website. The city county clerk where I was born FedExed it, $15. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Does not take long. It's not a problem. You just got to know where, as long as you know, here's the thing, as long as you know where you were born, but if you don't know where you were born, maybe you weren't born in the U.S. Just saying. If you walk in, you don't have to pay shipping. Yeah. It depends on if you want, I think if you want a certified copy, like one that's stamped, embossed, certified copy, you got to pay a little extra. Yeah, the Who on Smothers Brothers was pretty good too, Brian Ogden. I live in Ohio, drove to Virginia for a $7 birth certificate. Uh-oh. Mother's maiden name too? Yeah, there's a couple things you need to know. I think you need to know your mother's maiden name. Like if you try to get a passport, you have to know your mother and father's notarized. Yeah, notarized. You have to know your mother and father's maiden, your mother's maiden name, and then you also have to know where they were born, mother and father. It's not worth the paper if it's not certified. Yeah. Well, they used to have like a special embossed certification where it was like embossed, where it was like a thing in there, so it wasn't just like a stamp, it was like an embossed thing, like a raised embossment.
Tactical assessment. Red Chinese victory. Impossible. America will never fall to communist invasion. Communism is the very definition of failure.
Well, thank you so much, lucky number 7, for the $5. That puts us over the goal. We had an extra hour tonight. The one you just got is embossed. That's great. So with that means that we are $99, 99 away from a second additional hour of the show. Thank you so much. Wow, we still got plenty of time left too for the first thing. Come play Fallout 76 with me, Jim. Okay. I play Fallout 76. I play regular Fallout. I play Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas. You had to look up Kermit Cosnell. Forgot about that infanticide serial killer. Yeah, he was a horrible, bad man. Not born in the U.S., commie. Yeah. Democrat women, the most educated and brilliant, strong and capable, but too stupid to get a new ID. And if they get married, complete imbeciles. But they should run the country. Do I have it right? Yes, you got it completely right. Great rally, community. Get to the community. 9. Get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. I play Fallout, my chair sometimes. Oh, I do too. I like to play Fallout, my chair sometimes too. Yeah. I just made mine in Photoshop. If it was okay for Obama, then it's fine for me. Well, I agree. Okay. Trump asks ICE agents to not wear masks at airports. I mean, we don't have to beat this one to death. That's all. Basically, he wants them to not wear masks because he doesn't want to scare people. He doesn't want to cause problems in the airports. Same thing, Center Square. Don't wear masks. And then we got this story. Trump tells reporters that talks with Iran have been very strong. Where's John Brennan? I hope he's hiding from the police, because I hope they're looking for him to lock him up. He's a fucking, John Brennan is a member of the Communist Party. He voted for communists for president. He also converted to Islam. Yeah, he's an Islamicom. He's an Islamicom. He's an Islamicom. He celebrates Ramalama Ding Dong. Something like his Islamicom. I can make a song like that. Why did they show DeSantis? I don't know. We need to rest in peace, Scott Adams. Dilbert said that Russia isn't our real enemy. It's the caliphate for the Middle East infiltration in the U.S. Yes, I agree so. I fell off a stage or two while playing drunk. Yeah, it'll happen. And he's the one that photoshopped Obama's fake ID. Oof. Oof, oof. A friend of mine helped pick the places for Fall 76. He works at the West Virginia State Parks. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And we have major points of agreement. So that's what Trump's claiming. Something like an Islamicom. Something like an Islamicom. I should make a song like that. Like they could do it with this. Something like a phenomenon, but something like an Islamicom. So it's an Islamocami. President Trump said Monday that discussions with Iran have been very, very strong. When asked about Tehran denying conversations that could lead to ending the war. But departing Palm Beach, Florida for Tennessee, where he is set to participate in a Memphis State Safe Task Force Roundtable. Tenacious D. ICE doesn't wear a mask, then they will be doxxed. What is Trump doing? It's already been happening. I saw some videos of people chase him around trying to videotape their faces. Maybe with Shatner. Yeah. We've had very, very strong talks where we'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. They went, I would say, perfectly. I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, the conflict. Let's hear it, ready?
Iran's foreign ministry says you're not telling the truth when it comes to productive conversations to end the war.
Well, they're going to have to get themselves better public relations people. We have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. Perhaps that hasn't been conveyed. The communication, as you know, has been blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. But we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them. They went, I would say, perfectly. I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, that conflict. And I think it'll end it very, very substantially. We have very much in mind our partners in the Middle East. We've had great relationships with a lot of them, as you know. A lot of them were surprisingly hit. And I was surprised to see it, and so was everyone else. But we have, they're very much in mind in the discussions. So the discussions took place yesterday. They went into yesterday evening. They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal too. We're going to get together today by probably phone, because it's very hard to find a country. It's very hard for them to get out, I guess. But we'll at some point very, very soon meet. We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
Wow, bombing our little. He doesn't say Islamic Republic. No, he doesn't say Islamic Republic. So who knows who he's talking to? I don't know. I'm pleased to report the United States of America and the country of Iran. We had, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East, based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week. I've instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure. Well, they're going to have to get themselves better public relations. We have major points of agreement. They went, I would say, perfectly. Trump said the talks began Sunday and carried out into the evening. The president announced Monday morning before the gaggle that there will be a 5-day pause on the bombing of the power plants. I mean, thoughts on ice? I got ice in my tea. I love iced tea. I love it. Yep. Hassan Biker and the rest of those lunatics are getting hammered in the public now. Cuba shut the lights off in a hospital so Rich Seagulls could have the lights on in their hotel. Yeah, and they threw a concert. They had some other creeps gave a concert there. Hey, Critter Center, great to see you. Hi, all. Hit the thumbs up. Thank you so much. Having worked in law enforcement, doxing perps aren't at airports normally. They're in the ghetto. Yeah. The leader of the resistance. I think that's who he's talking to? The leader of resistance? It could be. He could be. Yeah. I'll be lurking a while because until my lunch break. Okay. Well, thanks for being here. I think maybe that's who he's talking to. He could be talking to some other people. Did everyone see the backup at Atlanta this weekend? A 5-hour wait to get through TSA. Immigration's Customs Enforcement. Oh, what about them? I think they need to get more people. They need to speed it up. They're not getting enough illegal aliens out of the country. They've only got 4 years to get 70 million people out. So it'll take a long time. Oh, about them wearing masks. I don't think they should wear masks. I mean, personally, I don't think any federal law enforcement official should wear masks. I don't think cops should wear masks. I don't. Like, if cops come kicking in my door with masks on, I'm going to assume they're not cops. Just saying. People with masks come to rob you, usually. Baltimore, Chicago, Miami, Boston, airports in the ghetto. That's just my opinion. But I know that there's a reason why they're wearing the mask, because they're being Dyson. What's it say? W win for Jim. Dylan garlic sauce. What's up, Dylan? You like garlic sauce? West Side. They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal too. We're going to get together today, probably on the phone at some point, very, very soon. Meeting. Okay. We're going to do a 5-day period and see how it goes. I think, all right, people ain't going to like to hear this, but I'm going to say it. I think Trump had to walk this back about bombing the. Personally, I think he had to walk it back about bombing the, the power plants and stuff, because you're not supposed to bomb civilian power plants. If they're military power plants or used for military stuff, you can. But, this guy, CBJG Free, says, are you happy with Trump's second term? I want more. More. I'm that living meme. That living meme of, that Star Wars, the new Star Wars with Kylo Ren going, more! Yeah. He will have the Gaza Arab Coalition on the west side and the Arab states policing the Iranian Republic. Yeah. Agreed. Okay. Just saying. So that's it. So I don't know. So now, and then this story from the Epoch Times, thoughts on LGBTQ. I don't care what they do as long as they don't involve kids. Leave kids alone. I don't care what two consenting adults want to do. I mean, I don't agree with it. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't judge anybody because of who they want to sleep with or whatever. I think it's a little, whatever. It doesn't float my boat, but to each their own, But as long as you leave kids alone, I don't see why this whole thing became this thing. I mean, that's what they said they wanted. They said they wanted, don't get out of my bedroom. Don't pay attention to who we're having sex with. That's what they said, remember? What do we do in our bedroom is none of your business. Well, now why the fuck is it in everybody's face? Why do they throw it in everybody's face? Why does everybody got to know it's all this thing? And yeah. Come on. Go back to where you just go. We don't care what you do. We don't want to know about it. Go away. Yeah, don't shove it down our throats. Exactly. That's the way I look at it. Don't shove it down our throats. Pause. Yeah. So Trump says U.S. not negotiating with Iranian leader Khamenei in outgoing talks. Well, I thought he was dead. Baltimore, Washington International Airport, right? They're all over. They're in a bunch of airports. They're in Chicago. They're in New York. They're in San Francisco. They're in Atlanta. They're at all the major airports. So Iranian state-run media, however, disputed that any talks were being held. Greg says, I'm glad I'm retired. Yeah, me too. Thoughts on sleeper cells? I think there's sleeper cells in the U.S. right now. I know there's got to be. They know there are. The amount of people that came across the border, lots. So they're got to be here. We're going to see. We're going to see some stuff. I mean, there was just a major explosion last night at a refinery in, or was it tonight? There's a major explosion at a refinery in Texas, so that could be supercells. I mean, we're going to see stuff. I don't know if it'll be like the beginning of the movie Sicario, like where they went in and started blowing up stuff. I don't know if we're going to see that, but we're going to see something. Stuff's going to happen. It says, Rabbi asked that same question of a leader in the U.S. Pride group in the 70s, 80 on firing line. Yeah. Trump said on March 23rd that his administration is not negotiating with Iran's top leader, Mojtaba Khomeini. I thought he was dead. In ongoing talks and dismissed statements made by Iranian state TV that talks aren't occurring. Deport them all. Well, I want every illegal alien deported. Everyone that's in this country illegally, every person that overstayed their visa, everyone that's stuck across the border, everyone that has no right to be in this country, I want them all gone. And then if they want to come back, the Valero refinery in Tejas, no injuries at the refinery, all workers accounted for, that's good. Sounds like Trump is causing international chaos with the negotiation talks. Maybe. Could be. I mean, Port Arthur, Texas. Yeah. We're dealing with a man who I believe is the most respected and the leader, Trump told reporters. I don't know who that is then. Who's he talking about? Yeah, Mojtaba is dead. They just won't admit it. Trump added that the man the U.S. government is speaking with is not Khomeini. We have not heard from the son of the former top leader who was killed in U.S. airstrikes February 28th. Every once in a while, you'll hear a statement made by Khomeini, but we don't know if he's living. According to Iran, no talks have taken place. That's just what their media is. Their media is saying that in Iran. Probably that's for Iranian people's consumption. They don't want to look weak at all. I don't know. I mean, if they're not talking to anybody and Trump is putting out there, you don't think the Democrats are going to run around admitting that, like saying that, like trying to slam them? Like Trump added that no one in Iran wants the job right now. Nobody's exactly looking to be the head of that particular country, but perhaps we'll be able to solve that problem. The U.S. military has wiped out the leadership phase 1, phase 2, and largely phase 3. It's a little tough. We've wiped out everybody. The comments come after Trump warned on Saturday that the U.S. military would launch strikes on the country's energy infrastructure. That statement came from an Iranian official. It would tank the IRGC's morale. Yeah, if they're not talking to somebody and Trump made the statement, that's going to be very easy to disprove. Like someone's going to say something. No gains being overly insulting so far, Trump. Yeah. The U.S. military will launch strikes on the infrastructure within 48 hours if they don't reopen Strait of Hormuz. But earlier on Monday, the president said he would be taking a pause on those attacks for 5 days after productive talks. Based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week, I've instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants or energy infrastructure for a 5-day period. Trump wrote on Truth Social. Of course, Trump can't lie. No, I'm not saying Trump can't lie. I'm not saying that. Trump can lie. But if he lies in this situation, it's going to come out. It's going to come out. People would know that these conversations aren't going on. Other people are in the loop and stuff in this conversation. He's saying that it's Kushner and Witkoff that are talking to them. And so that means these are the people that they were negotiating about the nuclear stuff. That's probably. Lag got me. So far, Trump has barely jabbed them. Okay. Fifth Element. We are sending in a negotiator. Yeah. No question it would leak. That's what I'm saying. It would leak out. It would leak out. And it should leak out. If he's lying, it should leak out. There's no reason to lie. If you haven't talked to him, don't say you've talked to him. And so you better have talked to him. Or not maybe you, but other people. SB Farmer, I was living in the valley in 94. Northridge earthquake struck. The Big A at the Angels ballpark fell down. I left L.A. permanently in March of 94. I'm trying to think, when was it 89 or 90? It was 89 or 91. I can't remember. Did you mention Mullins got the... before I got there? No, I didn't mention Mullins. Mullins did get approved by the Senate. Mark Wayne Mullins got approved by the Senate to be the new Secretary of DHS. I'm trying to remember. Lying would ruin his credibility with the rest of the world. Yeah, would make everybody look bad, especially the negotiators too. You don't want negotiators to be lying. I think it was called the Loma Prieta earthquake, the one that was based in Los Gatos to cause the Oakland Bridge, a piece of it to collapse. I was in San Jose when that happened. And the house was going like this. I was bouncing from wall to wall. It was nuts. Every time Iranians negotiate with us, the Iranian side gets deleted. Yeah, it's crazy. I believe Trump is looking for a way out. I hope he chooses to withdraw. Trump loves hyperbole. directionally correct 88 in theater Straits of Hormuz, USS Verzins. Approvals aren't subject to filibuster with current Senate rules, simple majority. Yeah. Yeah, they did that under Obama. That was the thing. The Democrats already nuked the filibuster for judges and stuff like that and appointments. The Democrats did all that for Obama. Appointments, judges, they already did all that. Or department confirmations, yeah. That's great about loans being approved. Yeah, the Democrats did that. The only thing the Republicans did was after all that, then they said, the Democrats said, we're going to get rid of, for district judges and appellate court judges, we're going to get rid of the filibuster, but we're going to keep it for the Supreme Court. And then they tried to filibuster the Supreme Court picks for Trump, and they were like, yeah, no, that's not happening. We're going to get rid of that there. I felt Mark Wayne Mullen was a clown chasing headlines when he first started, but he's got better over time. Oil was 118 a barrel in 2022. I thought it was higher than that. Got to hop in bed, right, and gal go. All right, well, thanks for being here. Yeah, 89 was Loma Prieta. Took out a bunch of stuff in Santa Cruz. Yeah, it was bad. Every time I've been in California, there's been an earthquake. I've been going there since I was like 8 years old, because I've got family there in San Jose, in Silicon Valley, and San Diego. So I've been there numerous times. And lots of stuff, a lot of good stuff. Over the weekend, Iran's Revolutionary Guard had promised retaliation if Trump attacked Iranian power infrastructure and said that it would launch strikes on power plants in Middle Eastern countries. Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Baghdad Khalilabaf said Iran would consider vital infrastructure across the region to be legitimate targets, including desalination facilities critical for drinking water in Gulf nations. At issue is the Strait of Hormuz, which links the Persian Gulf to the wider Indian Ocean and has been effectively blocked since the conflict began, driving up oil and gas prices around the world. So my local police department had to arrest Puxatawny Phil for lying. It's been over 100 degrees in Arizona this past week. That prick. Why would you withdraw from a war? You're on the doorstep of winning. I don't know. Israel's military launched new attacks Monday on the Iranian capital, saying it had begun wide-scale wave of strikes. I just don't understand. They kept saying today's going to be the biggest day, tomorrow's going to be the biggest day of strikes, tomorrow's going to be the worst strikes, tomorrow's going to be the worst strikes. I don't know. Was that just all bluster? Because I didn't see anything crazy. Explosions were heard in multiple locations in the afternoon. It wasn't immediately clear which targets have been hit. Iran has already targeted infrastructure in the rest of the region. More empty threats. Yeah, they've been targeting like oil fields and stuff in Saudi Arabia, gas fields, Qatar, UAE. So marked Win Webb says at this stage, I believe the U.S. has lost and needs to save face. I think I think your definition of lost might be lost on all of us. 94 was an earthquake quake. My rental house in Reseda got red tagged. I had to move into extended stay. Diego Garcia wasn't an empty threat. No. The UAE said it was attempting to intercept new incoming Iranian strikes on Monday afternoon. Israel's also batting with Iran-linked terror group Hezbollah. In Lebanon, Hezbollah fired hundreds of rockets into Israel. Best source for what we've blown up in Iran is CENTCOM on X for analysis. Max Afterburner on YouTube. I know. It's great, ain't it? Awesome stuff. Daily updates with video. I know. I'm waiting for the videos. I want the videos. Lost, I mean, by their objective read change will not happen. I think that's still up for debate whether it's going to happen. It's up to the people in Iran if they want, the actual Persians, the Zoroastrians, if they want to take their government back, they've got to make a move. They've got to make a move. We're not going to do it for them. I hope not anyway. I don't want to do it for them. I do not want American boys going halfway around the world to do things that Persian boys should be doing for themselves. What? Wait, what? Wait, what? Oh. Well. Diego Garcia was potentially a false flag by Israel. We have not seen any evidence of launch detection. Only 2 missiles were sent. What's my definition of success with the war? My definition of success with the war is that Iran can no longer pose a threat to our people. That's it. Is Mullins following the Pelosi trading plan? I don't know. Currently, Iran is charging countries $2 million for ships to pass Hormuz. You can't give someone lasting freedom. They have to fight for them. Exactly. Doggo seconds that motion. Yeah, 100%. Oh, sorry. I think I missed something on. That's not going to happen. Okay, Rand poses no threat to the U.S. Never did. Well, I disagree. I disagree. I think the thousands of guys that lost arms and legs in Iraq from Iranian-made IEDs disagree too. But I respect your opinion. I just disagree. So Trump says Iran wants to make a deal to enter the war. Did we watch this already? Let's see.
We have very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. Perhaps that hasn't been conveyed. The communication, as you know, has been blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. But we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them. They went, I would say, perfectly. I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, that conflict, and I think it'll end it very, very substantially. We have very much in mind our partners in the Middle East. We've had great relationships with a lot of them, as you know. A lot of them were surprisingly hit, and I was surprised to see it, and so was everyone else. But we have, they're very much in mind in the discussions. So the discussions took place yesterday. They went into yesterday evening. They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal too. We're going to get together today by probably phone because
we did watch this already. Sorry, I didn't know it was another one. But yeah, Mark Webb says, but yeah, we certainly have a difference of opinion. What's happening with this? Yeah, and that's fine. Everybody can have different opinions. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. They are. I'm not going to attack anybody for their opinion. I just say I disagree, and this is why. And I think we've owed them. This has been a chit that's been owed for a long time. The bombing of the barracks, the Beirut bombing, the Saudi Arabia bombing of the barracks, all these different things that Iran was behind, killed, 252 Marines. We owed them. They had it coming. They've been threatening us, always chanting death to America. We're going to do this. We're going to blow you up, or blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? Fuck you. It's on. I've had it. Scott Mills and Tillamook earthquake in Oregon 90 were a flipping trip. Sister woke up screaming, "Rip, 93 AIDS." Puffers were freaking out too. That's why he's coordinating with the resistance, letting them know when it's coming, time to come out of the shadow. Okay, all right. I hope so. I hope somebody has a plan. My first husband was a cop, a sheriff. He taught me paying compliance when I was married to my second husband was a 7th SPG. He taught me a whole new level of paying compliance. I feel safe. Well, that's awesome. What if Trump is having fake meetings? I don't know. That would be crazy. We broke it. We bought it. About time we cleaned up our mess and avenged the Marines. How many thousands have they killed with their proxies? A lot. Why didn't we set up an underground resistance group within Iran? No organization, no logistics. There's got to be, right? There's people, all these people. I don't know. I don't think we should support either. Don't get me wrong. I don't think we should support installing the Shah back in there. I view is you go all the way with Iran or not go at all. That means troops on the ground. There's talk about arming the Iranians, training real hard for them to get out for that. Kurds are willing to help too. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. What did Iran pay for our hostage? $6 billion for 5? Oh, yeah, a lot of money. It says if the U.S. had never been in the Middle East, this would never happen. Oh. Withdraw permanently and focus on the U.S. Well, listen, I would not be opposed to withdrawing all of our troops from bases all around the world and stationing them on our northern and southern border and protecting this hemisphere. But we can't close our eyes to the fact that this is a globe, all right? And it's a world that needs If we aren't there, if the U.S. is not in the world doing things, being the superpower, someone else is going to be the superpower. And how would the world be with a China being the superpower, where they have slave camps in China right now, today, where they're forced sterilizing people today? I mean, granted, the people they're forced sterilizing is those Uyghur Muslims. Maybe they're onto something. I don't know. Yeah. Well, the Middle East would still be a shit show without America's help. You ain't kidding. You can't go halfway. What's the point? In a perfect world, we could mind our own business, but it's dog eat dog world. Yeah, in a perfect world, but it's not. You know, you have to live in the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. You know. Uh-oh. It's flat. Oh, sorry. India also has 40 million slaves. Yeah, I mean, we can't let these people that have slaves become the superpower of the world. We can't. Sorry. We got this story. It says the Iran threatens to start hitting Gulf power plants and mine waters as Israel launches new attacks. We can't eliminate them? Why not? Why can't we eliminate them? The world has a lovely way of making the super isolations look stupid. Well, and real politics say otherwise. Yeah. The end game is U.S. versus China. Yeah, but then you got idiots like Tucker Carlson out here saying we should just let China be the superpower. Like, what is going on with Tucker Carlson? All of a sudden now he thinks Islam is great, saying that Sharia law is better than what we have in the West, and saying China. I mean, what? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, this is a story. This is what they're. So this stuff is happening. Yeah. So this is crazy. This wasn't really a story I was going to talk about, but I see it here, so I want to bring it up. For says for today's video headlines. What? We had a plane crash. The truck crashed into the thing. So on Monday, Iran warned on Monday it will strike electrical plants across the Middle East. Tucker is a paid puppet. It's okay to have a multipolar world. Well, we do. We have a North Pole and a South Pole. Tucker is back on shrooms. Hard pass on Tucker and his new favorite religion that allows men to beat their 9-year-old wives. It's crazy, man. I can't believe Tucker's going down that road. I forgot to do this. I have to set up a new goal. And the new goal is we're $99 away from adding a second additional hour to the show. So let me do this. 20 super chats. $5 for 1 hour. Okay. We got going on here. So thank you. Also, we're 99 away from adding. Yep. Oh, hey, look at Chris is here. What's up, Chris? Hey there, Jim. Another night of interesting news. In other news, I'm going to Waffle House in the morning. That trumps all, literally. Kudos. Awesome. I like Waffle House. Waffle House is good stuff. Is Carg Island still on the menu? I believe it is. I believe Carg Island is going to happen. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I mean, they're going to have to, if they're going to put Marines on Carg Island and sit on it, they have to be able to take out all of Iran's artillery. No arty. What's worse, atheist rocket man or radical Islamists chanting death to America for nearly 5 decades? Are you talking about Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-il? I don't know. He's not that. Your pores are belong to the USA. What's it say? Michael Rothman status. I'll look at that in a second. It seems that they failed to launch after the shock and awe of the first attack. They have given the IRGC time to retreat, reform, recon, and reinforce. This will lead to resurgence. Little Rocket Man. Scattered, smothered, and covered is the GOAT. Okay. Oh, you're talking about how do you prefer your waffles? Uh-huh. Says Jim is correct about the 31 MEU occupying Carg Island. I think so. You see the submarine launching Tomahawks? Yeah, that's great. Keep going. There's a lot of talk about Carg, but they won't do that. Way too risky. I don't know. We'll see. Look at this. Jim, you were in the military. If we didn't go into Iraq or Afghanistan, could we control who ran that country? That means regime. I mean, technically we don't. Technically, we didn't control who runs Afghanistan. We left, and now the Taliban's back in charge. But thank you for the 5. And same thing with Iraq. I did not agree with Iraq. I always thought Iraq was a mistake. We're at $94 now, away from a second additional hour to the show, because I did not think Iraq had anything to do with 9/11. Pecan waffles are great. Are we allowed links here? Yes, you can post links in there. As Boxer will occupy, definitely. Answer Mo. Who's Mo? There's a lot of talk about Carg, but they won't do it. Way too risky. Answer Mo. What do you mean? Answer no. No. Where are we at here? Someone I want to look at. Here we go. Hold on. Let me get it. Let me see what that is. Because there was another one I didn't look at, but I want to get to. Oh, okay. Well, this is on point. This is on topic. Let me. So Iran threatened. We'll do this. This is right on topic. So we'll do this after this story here. So Iran warned they're going to start striking electrical plants. The threat by Tehran puts at risk both electrical supplies and water in the Gulf Arab states. Strawberries and cream. Cool. Only mods can post link. No. Me? Never mind. Oh, okay. Waffles without a fight breaking out would be awesome. Yeah. On Rumble, anybody can post links. Just some people don't like when people post links. Don't go into Iran. We won't be controlling who runs the regime. Oh, well. We don't want to control. Why can't the people vote for who they want? Let the people of Iran choose who they want to be in charge, I guess, is what I would say. Let the people of Iran make that decision. The threat by Tehran puts both at risk of electrical supplies. Following the threat, Iran's semi-official FARS agency posted a list of such facilities, including the UAE's nuclear power plant. We'll see now, if they struck a nuclear power plant, that would put them basically in violation of numerous Geneva Conventions and other laws, which would make it like they would open themselves up to be struck with nuclear weapons. Yes, now I want waffles too. Yeah. Iran so far away, couldn't get away. Israeli facility wasn't damaged, so they also talked about Israeli facility targeting Dimona near a facility long suspected atomic weapons program. Says people with guns control Iran. Doc says, speaking of bombing power plants, are we? Is this going to be the one? Is this the Russians? Is this the Rushkins? Oh yeah, yeah. Israel launched new attacks on Monday on the Iranian capital and said it's begun wide-scale wave of attacks. As concern grows in Tehran about a potential of U.S. Marines in the region, Iran's defense council warned against the idea of an invasion. Any attempt by the enemy to target Iran's coasts or islands will naturally, in accordance with well-established military practice, lead to the mining of all access routes. The U.S. has been trying to reopen the strait, the narrow mouth of the Persian Gulf, to energy shipments. Iran has shut down the straits. A trickle of ships has been getting through the strait, and Iran insists it remains open, just not to the U.S., Israel, or its allies. America first, our Second Amendment makes attacking the U.S. a risky venture. A lot of people do not know that when the wrong people are elected in Iran by hook or by crook, the RGC keeps them out of power. It's not, if not office. Yeah. The Marines could come ashore and seize either islands or territory to Iran to support the mission. Israel also has suggested its ground forces could take part in a war. Tehran's signal is part of a back-and-forth series of threats that escalated this weekend with Trump saying in a social media post that Tehran didn't open the strategic waterway to all ships. The United States will obliterate Iran's power plants. It gave Tehran 48-hour deadline. The Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard, I don't know why they're called paramilitary. They are their military. Agreed. Elmer's Pancake House in Portland only had car break-ins, no fights. Believe it or not, it was on MLK Boulevard. And said that Iran would respond by hitting power plants in all areas that supply electricity to American bases, as well as the economic, industrial, and energy infrastructure in which Americans have shares. Do not doubt that we will do this. Oh, okay. I just say let's get it on. Fars News Agency, which is close to the Revolutionary Guard, published a list of such sites, including desalination plants in the EU, Bakar nuclear power plant, which has 4 reactors out in the western deserts of the country near the border of Saudi Arabia. And the judiciary's Mizan news agency also published a list. Iranian Public Parliament Speaker Mohammad Baghdad Queefi also said Iran would consider vital infrastructure across the region, energy and desalination facilities for drinking water in Gulf nations. Oil price remained stubbornly high in early trading, with the price of Brent crude around $112 a barrel, up nearly 55 since Israel and the U.S. started the war. No country will be immune from the effects of the crisis as it continues to go in this direction, says Fatih Barbaroli, the head of the Paris-based International Energy Agency. Iran's IRGC can't win. They should give up. Yeah, well. A Waffle House chunk, chop, dice. Forget all the phrases. Yeah. Queef. That's the guy's name, Queef. That's how I read it, Queef. Pecan sounds good. Pecan, or is it pecan or pecan? Pecan pie, pecan, pecan, pecan. I don't know. He told Australia's National News Press Club in Canberra on Monday that the crisis has had a worse impact on energy markets than 2 oil shocks in the 70s. No, that's not true. Get it on, bang a gong, get it on. War is fun until you're a part of one. No, war is hell. Just remember, war is hell. War is always hell. There is no military solution, he said. Oh, I disagree. There is only a military solution. War has also caused wild fluctuations. The people that tell you there's no military solution are the people that don't have a military, and their military can't win. Iran is psycho freaks. The IRGC is psycho freaks. Iran has a normal military as well. The Artesh. T-Rex. That's what I say, T-Rex, man. Get it, Wooden. United States Central Command Chief Admiral Brad Cooper claimed in an interview aired Monday that Iran was launching missiles and drones from populated areas to suggest those areas would be targeted. It's not hello from thousands of miles away. It's not hell from thousands of miles away. It's always hell. War is always hell for someone. There'll be a clear signal at some point, as the president indicated, for you to be able to come out. You need to stay inside right now, Cooper told Iranian civilians in an interview on the Farsi language satellite network Iran International aired early Monday. So he's like, tell them it's not time. Pecan is pronounced pecan. Pecan. His first one-on-one interview since the war started, Cooper said the campaign against Israel is ahead of or on plan schedule, and that the U.S. and Israel are targeting infrastructure manufacturing facility to destroy Iran's capability of rebuilding its military. It's not about the threat today. We're eliminating the threat in the future, both in terms of drones and missiles, as well as their Navy. He suggested Iran could bring a quick end to the war if it stopped firing back, but didn't say whether that would prompt Israel and the U.S. to relent before all infrastructure targets had been destroyed. Iran's death toll in the war has surpassed 1,500, its ministry has said. In Israel, 15 people have been killed, and more than a dozen civilians in the occupied West Bank and Gulf Arab states have been killed in strikes. In Lebanon, authorities say Israeli strikes targeting Israeli-linked militia Hezbollah have killed more than 1,000 people. Wait, so they're saying 1,000 people have been killed in Lebanon and only 1,500 in Iran? That seems off. It seems off to me. That number seems off. Just saying. So we got this story, which kind of ties in. It says, CENTCOM is talking directly to the Iranian people. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Cooper just delivered a message, not to the Iranian regime, directly to the Iranian people. Is this it? Okay. All right, we'll listen to this. Only 20 seconds long? Seems like a lot of words for 20 seconds long.
Continue to heed our advice. We've had multiple messages that have come out that have said, beware, the government doesn't care about you. They're launching missiles and drones from populated areas. You need to stay inside for right now. Third, there will be a clear signal at some point, as the president has indicated, for you to be able to come out. And then
Yeah, America's not at war with the Iranian people. America's telling them to hold on. The signal is coming. Well, that's good, I hope. The sign will be very clear. Do not look to the east. Do not look to the west. Do not look to the north, south, but rather look to the sky for your signal. Yeah, look to the sky. A bunch of fucking guns getting dropped in by parachutes. Oh, let's see. What? Oh, let's see. What? This is Trump talking? Let's see.
17 warships, Ali. 17, I sank them all, including the submarine. Nobody even knew you had a submarine. Frankly, I don't think you knew you had a submarine.
That submarine was secret.
Was. Very important word there. Was secret. Was a submarine. Was floating. Now it's a reef. The fish love it. I'm getting credit from the environmentalists. First time ever. Very unexpected.
My admiral just resigned. He resigned by text. He sent me the emoji with the little face, the sad one.
Well, Ali, I've seen bigger fleets at a birthday party. 17 warships, Ali. 17, I sank them all, including the...
That's funny. That's funny. Funny. And then, this is K10 News. Just says Israel launches new strikes on Tehran as Iran takes aim at Gulf states. So explosions run out in Tehran. Iranian media reported while Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates said they were intercepting missiles and drones. At least 40 energy assets across the oil and gas exporting region have been severely or very severely damaged in the conflict, said the International Energy Agency chief Fatih Birol, as the war ignited by U.S.-Israel attack on Iran entered its fourth week. Tehran has met the assaults by firing missiles and drones at Israel and across the Gulf in the last weeks, hitting energy sites, U.S. embassies alike, and it's been throttled traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, a vital waterway through which a fifth of global crude oil transits. With oil prices hovering above $100 a barrel over supply fears, President Trump threatened to obliterate Iranian power plants if Tehran failed to reopen the strait within 48 hours. The deadline, based on the time of his social media posting, would be 23:44 GMT, early morning Tuesday in Iran. Iran so far away, they couldn't get away. But Iran's response was firm, with its powerful parliament speaker, Mohammad Baghdad Galquif, vowing that vital infrastructure across the region would be considered legitimate targets. Laying out the scale of the global crisis, Fatih Birol said 11 million barrels of oil are currently lost a day, more than the daily volume eradicated during 2 consecutive oil crises in the 70s. No country will be immune from the effects. There's need for global efforts, Birol told Canberra. Iran eyes Hormuz tax. Asian stocks slipped while oil prices rose again early Monday morning, with the U.S. benchmark crude briefly touching $100 per barrel. It's not over $100 per barrel for West Texas crude. It's cheaper in the U.S. to get West Texas crude. In recent days, Iran has allowed a handful of vessels from countries it considers friendly to pass through the straits, while warning it could block ships from countries it says have joined aggression against it. Trump has offered at varying timelines on the objectives for the war, saying Friday is considering winding down the operation, which would mark a significant escalation. Oh, wow. So where are we? So we'll go this way. This says blasts reported in Tehran as Israel launched strikes. That was very Trumpian. I don't really like the babyface theme, but the context and word use was very Trump. The oil, not the temp. Yes, the war machine generates a lot. One issue is that Iran expects the U.S. to fight fair, similar to Iraq and Afghanistan. They weren't prepared for us having the gloves off. Yeah, that's the thing. They're like, oh, no, you can't do this. No, we can. We can do a lot of stuff. Wait, there was another one I wanted to look at before we got into shit. All right, so there's explosions and stuff in Tehran. Okay. Where's it at? Oh, wait, no. Is it this one? Oh, yeah, I want to do this one. Hold on. I want to do this one. And then I want to do this one. All right. We're going to do these two stories first, and then we'll get to the next story. Someone sent me. Okay, here's what you need to know about bombing electrical facilities. We can't take over a country from the air. No, you can't. You can't do it. Several countries, to include the U.S., use graphite bombs. These aren't bombs in the sense of you thinking. They have a small explosive charge, but don't destroy something by brute force. Instead, long graphite filaments are expelled. They extend across power lines and create a short circuit. Either some form of protection cuts power to the line, or the line eventually fails. The graphite is vaporized in the process, leaving nothing behind. The effect is that you have power goes out, and it's sometimes called a soft bomb or blackout bombs. They've used these before. They were used in Desert Storm, but unfortunately we used actual bombs later and did a lot of damage that couldn't be repaired quickly. This is considered a mistake. The point is to disrupt electricity in a way that can be rapidly restored when hostilities cease, minimizing suffering of the civilian population. After all, without electricity, water and sewer systems stop working, which leads to public health issues. We used graphite bombs in Yugoslavia in '99, turning off about 70% of the country's electricity. They restored power in about 24 hours, though there were subsequent attacks. SB Farmer, Germany had insurance on U-boats that paid out when sunk, but could have been because it was scuttled. They pay, can't remember. Anyway, if you have a good idea of the power grid, you can target parts of it while leaving others alone. For example, the part of the grid that feeds military facilities, though in practice it will still probably affect some non-military stuff unless the base is isolated. Hope that helps. Seems like it's going to be a topic of discussion. So what do you want to just take out electricity for 24 hours at a warning? It's up to them to repair it. If they don't, the power stays out. If they do, you hit it again as often as you want. Yeah, that's what you do. You just keep shutting up power off. Amazing Joe Scarborough put Chucky Scummer in his place. Let's talk about the New York Yankees. Yeah, it's great, right? Then we got this story. It's kind of a little bit off topic, but not really. This says, we're now learning about the Obama administration's ties to the Mexican cartel. Meet Paul Campo, an Obama-era DEA official. Prosecutors say he laundered some $12 million. He's also accused of participating in narcotics trafficking, aiding and abetting one of the most notorious Mexican cartels, the Jalisco New Generacion Cartel, which is also known as the Cartel de Jalisco Nuevo Generacion, or CJNJ. That cartel is allegedly responsible for countless deaths in the United States and Mexico. Temps around me cannot make my goth dang mind hit 80, but today I'm 50s and tonight in the 30s. Yeah, the temperature swings bother me too. Chaff. Yes, definitely chaff. They got the power that mostly hurts the civilians. Yes. Campo was Obama's deputy chief of the DEA's Office of Financial Operations.
This is a Fox News alert. A high-ranking Obama DEA official was just indicted for trying to help the cartel. Paul Campo conspired, allegedly, to launder up to $12 million in drug trafficking proceeds. Campo and an associate by the name of Robert Sensi are accused in the scheme of converting cash into cryptocurrency to buy 220 kilos of coke, worth about $5 million on the street, and then attempting to launder even more money, almost $750,000 from other drug sales for the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. These two gentlemen have been charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy to distribute narcotics, and, as you can well imagine, also with money laundering conspiracy. Campo has pleaded not guilty, and he is in custody tonight. There's a good chance, Jesse, he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
He's not going anywhere anytime soon. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. That's what they say when they get caught. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. If we take out the power, why not take out their water? Since my landlord turned the AC up to 73, got the frozen water bottles back out for my arteries. Oof. Willie Pete, white phosphorus, Willie Pete, man, I like Willie Pete. My apartment got to 78 before I hit the AC. Fool me, thought the temp drops were done. Yeah. Aren't cartels designated as terrorist groups these days? Yeah, that's what they call them, narco-terrorists. What water? I think they're talking about the water plants. Like, I don't know if Iran uses desalination. I thought they have like wells and stuff because they have mountains and stuff like that, so they get water. Water would be terrible to stop. Yeah, it would be. The Dirty Dozen, look at this: Obama, Clinton, Brennan, Klepper, Rosenstein, Comey, Wray, McCabe, Lisa Page, Baker, W.H. Bill, Priestap, yeah. Peter Strzok. Stroke me, Peter Stroke. Ba-na-na-na. Gundam, what's up? Duck Fat, great to see you. Trump delays strikes on Iran power energy for 5 days, setting very good, productive conversations. Oh, this is interesting. Trump said, Scott Bessent says that Trump may escalate to de-escalate.
We have demolished the Iranian capabilities. Their Air Force is completely destroyed, Navy destroyed, and every day we are taking out their missiles, their missile systems, and the factories that build those missiles. And now the General Kane, Secretary Hegseth are leading a campaign to destroy all the fortifications along the Straits of Hormuz.
Just to put a fine point on this, though, is the president in the process of winding down this war or escalating the conflict?
Again, they're not mutually exclusive. Sometimes you have to escalate to de-escalate, Chris.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. Mound's got nuts.
Well, good morning. We just finished an update with Admiral Brad Cooper, the CENTCOM commander, across the CENTCOM AOR, our leadership and troops, as you would expect, doing a fantastic job. 2 days ago, under the direction and direct orders of President Donald J. Trump, the Department of War launched Operation Epic Fury, the most lethal, most complex, and most precise aerial operation in history. For 47 long years, the expansionist and Islamist regime in Tehran has waged a savage, one-sided war against America. They didn't always declare it openly, except for their constant chants of death to America. They did it through the blood of our people. Car bombs in Beirut, rocket attacks on our ships, murders at our embassies, roadside bombs in Iraq and Afghanistan, funded and armed by Iranian Quds Force and IRGC killers. My generation of veterans carry the names of brothers who never came home. Brothers butchered by Iranian-backed roadside bombs and well-armed militias, thousands of our own. We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it. Their war on Americans has become our retribution against their Ayatollah and his death cult. It took the 47th president, a fighter who always puts America first, to finally draw the line after 47 years of Iranian belligerence. He reminded the world, as he has time and time again, being an American means something unbreakable. If you kill Americans, if you threaten Americans anywhere on earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you. President Trump has also been very consistent. Crazy regimes like Iran, hell-bent on prophetic Islamist delusions, cannot have nuclear weapons. It's common sense.
Common sense.
Many have said it,
Yeah, man,
but it takes guts to actually enforce it, and our president has guts. Iran's
Whole blood and
stubborn
guts.
and self-evident nuclear pursuits, their targeting of global shipping lanes, and their swelling arsenal of ballistic
Doing nostalgia
missiles
clips.
and
Is this
killer
old? I don't
drones.
know. This was on the story today that I was looking at, so I don't know. Is that old? Is it old? I don't know. Trump announced Monday the U.S. will not attack any part of Iran's power and energy infrastructure. Oh, yeah. This is another story. This was the same story earlier. Iran disputes Trump's claims about talks. There's been initiatives by other countries to de-escalate. Iran's response has been clear. It didn't start the war, and all such requests should be directed to the U.S. Well, we'll see. Alleged Iranian spies are already in the U.S. and infiltrating Silicon Valley. Ah, what do you know? Look at that. California women protest for Palestine. Why so silent on Iran? Well, people should be aware that... same thing here. Epoch Times, Trump postpones potential strikes on infrastructure. This is very interesting. I want to do this one because this guy says that to Newsbeck, Trump's Iran strike delay masks U.S. troop push. So let's see.
All right, well, let's keep this conversation going and welcome in former Undersecretary of Defense, former Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Robert Wilkie. Good morning to you, my friend. So I want to start with the obvious, with the president Truth Social backing away from the ultimatum, postponing strikes on Iran's energy sites for 5 days. He reports that both sides recently held, quote, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. I don't want to get over my skis on this or get too far out in front, but this seems to be a pretty big statement from the president.
Well, I think you're right. Don't get out over your skis. There's nothing that the Iranians say that resembles the truth. I think what's happening is that this is a screen for the movement of Marines and special forces into the area to finally free up the Straits of Hormuz. They're not completely closed. About 20% of the normal traffic is getting through. And I think the only way to really end this matter is to put our folks on those islands and in southern Iran. We have air supremacy, so there's not going to be a massive attack on the part of the Iranians, and really free those straits up. That's been in the contingency plans. I mean, I certainly saw it in our war gaming when I was undersecretary, and then also as a colonel in the Air Force.
So wait, so what he's saying is they already had a plan to do this. The plan was already drawn up, because that's what the Pentagon does. That's what they do. They draw up these plans of what to do. They have the plans made up for like all these things. It's in a file. They go, oh, here's the plan, how to do this. Here's the plan to do this. It's just whether or not somebody has the balls to actually do it. He says, USS Tripoli. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles on the land and on the sea. We will fight for right and freedom. Anyway.
At the Pentagon. And I think that's where we are headed in order to free the straits. I have complete trust in Admiral Cooper, Admiral Bradley, and of course General Kane.
Let's see. Oh, easy, Gomer. Okay, all right, whatever, man. This plan is at least 25 to 30 years old. Yeah, I think so. Funny how many think Patton sounded like George C. Scott, but he actually had a very ironic voice.
Yeah, he really talked like this. My name's George Patton, and I'm here to tell you we're going to go get the people.
Did you know that South Vietnam is 1/10 the size of Iran? Okay. That war was fought. Vietnam was fought retardedly. All right. We never went into North Vietnam to attack the North. That was the retarded part. If they would have went into North Vietnam and attacked the North in North Vietnam, the war would have been much different. But they never went in North Vietnam at all. They never pushed in. They didn't even. The bombing campaigns in North Vietnam were like very limited and stuff, too. How did Vietnam turn out? During an appearance on Newsmax Wake Up America, Wilkie said the pause should not be interpreted as a sign that Tehran is suddenly serious about diplomacy, even after Trump stood on truth. Both sides had very good and productive. Rules of engagement are a path to failure almost every single time. Yeah, we went full retard in Nam. Yeah, we did. That was a war for the South China Sea. We won that war. The former Trump official urged caution, saying it would be unwise to get too far ahead of events by making it clear that he has little faith in Iran's claims. Yes, Vietnam was fought by politicians, not soldiers. The soldiers won every battle in Vietnam, the U.S. soldiers. There was not a battle they lost. There's nothing that the Iranians say that resembles the truth. Instead, Wilkie said he believes that the delay is serving far more strategic purpose as the U.S. repositions assets for a possible operation centered on the Straits of Hormuz, one of the region's world's most important energy choke points. And what's that have to do with the price of apples in Washington? I don't know. Washington apples are good, too. I like Michigan apples, too. Vietnam is now an American trading partner, so I guess it worked out well in the end. I think what's happening is that this is a screen for the movement of the Marines and Special Forces into the area to finally free up the strait. Wilkie noted that the waterway was not fully shut down, but stressed that traffic remains severely constrained, saying about 20% of normal traffic is getting through. The likely next step, he said, would be a mission to secure strategic islands and position in southern Iran to reopen the strait and restore freedom of navigation. The man in the black pajamas. Yeah, the man in the black pajamas. Yeah, never. Got to respect the guys in the black pajamas. I don't think the only way to really end this matter is to put our folks on those islands in southern Iran. Drawing on his Pentagon experience, Wilkie said such an operation would not be improvised. That's been in the contingency plans. He says he saw similar scenarios during war games, both as undersecretary and as Air Force colonel at the Pentagon. I think that's where we're headed in order to free the straits. Yeah, free the Straits of Hormuz. Free the Straits of Hormuz. We need them Arabs drinking booze. Free the Straits of Hormuz. I can get a chant. Cronkite the prick proved that the MSM colluding with leftists could get the U.S. thrown in the towel, yes. And tonight, folks, everyone has realized that the U.S. could lose this war. Newsmax is the fastest growing cable news channel. Yes, it is. Newsmax is growing fast. And we got this next story. Going on to the next story here. Going on to the next story. Marco Rubio is set to testify in a trial of a former congressman accused of lobbying for Venezuela. The trial begins on Monday, and Rubio is set to speak on Tuesday about his relationship with Rivera. Yes, Geraldo Rivera is finally being charged for colluding with Venezuela. Not Geraldo Rivera, some other one. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is expected to testify this week in the trial of former Republican David Rivera, a representative from Florida, who is accused of secretly lobbying on behalf of Venezuela. The trial begins on March 23rd, and Rubio is set to speak on March 24th about his relationship with Rivera, a longtime friend who was also his roommate during their time in the Florida legislature. Prosecutors claim that Rivera acted as a paid agent for the former Venezuelan Nicolas Maduro, using his Republican connections from Congress to try to influence the White House to soften its stance towards Venezuela. According to allegations, Rivera secured a $50 million lobbying contract from Venezuelan official Delcy Rodriguez with payments tied to state oil company PDVSA. Prosecutors say Rivera worked with Rep. Pete Sessions and a convicted drug cartel associate to arrange meetings with U.S. officials at ExxonMobil. Sessions has not been charged. The case highlights Miami's long-standing influence on U.S. policy towards Latin America, particularly given its history as a hub for political exiles and anti-communist activism. He served with Vietnam veterans during Desert Storm. Rest in peace, fellow U.S. patriots. Rodriguez is also expected to come under scrutiny. Prosecutors say she relied on Rivera to organize meetings in major cities, including New York City, Washington, Dallas, Caracas, and Venezuela, to attempt to build support for improving U.S.-Venezuela relations. Although those efforts initially failed, shifting political dynamics have since made such normalization more plausible. Spuds, what's up, Spuds? Great to see Spuds. Great to see Spuds. Rivera was arrested and charged in 2022 with money laundering and failure to register as a foreign agent. Oh, wow, man. They were just going after any Republican they could with this FARA violation. I mean, it kind of did look like he was doing something he shouldn't have been doing, but I don't know. Prosecutors allege he used encrypted communication to conceal his work, including a chat group called MIA for Miami. One of his key contacts was Venezuelan media figure Raul Gorin, who has also been charged in the U.S. with bribery. According to prosecutors, members of the group allegedly used coded language. Maduro was referred to as the bus driver, Sessions as sombrero, and money as melons. Melons. They need some more melons, my friend. Nixie Nick says, I'm in southern Indiana, and it was hot as hell for a few hours. Rivera denies all allegations. His legal team argues that his consulting firm was hired by a U.S.-based subsidiary of Venezuela's oil company, not directly by PDVSA, meaning that he was not required to register as a foreign agent. Gorin is a damn good detective. Rivera's attorneys also claimed that his work focused on helping Venezuela-owned Citgo operate within the U.S. energy sector, and that this was separate from his political efforts, which they say aim to support a transition to more U.S.-friendly leadership in Venezuela. However, a related civil lawsuit alleges that Rivera performed little of the contracted work and used the agreement to cover illegal lobbying. Of the roughly $20 million he received, prosecutors say $3.75 million was spent on maintaining Gorin's luxury yacht. Although Rubio has not been accused of wrongdoing, prosecutors say Rivera viewed him as a crucial ally in gaining access to the White House. According to court documents, Rivera met Rubio at his Washington home in July 2017 and later told him about efforts to persuade Maduro to agree to free elections. In a follow-up message, Rivera urged Rubio to support negotiations, writing that the United States should facilitate a peaceful solution. Yes, make it peaceful right up to the point that those peaceful people you're trying to be peaceful with kill you. After another meeting involving Rubio, Rivera, and Gorin, Rivera allegedly suggested Maduro would need to compensate him for arranging access to the senator, implying that such connections were essential to his efforts. The initiative quickly fell apart. Later that month, U.S. President Trump imposed sanctions on Maduro, calling him a dictator, and launched a campaign to remove him from power. Rubio subsequently publicly supported the administration's hardline approach. And this is just CBS, just says, Secretary of State Marco Rubio to testify against Florida Rep. David Rivera in foreign agent money laundering case. We'll have to see. I have to keep an eye on this one. This says, Iran threatens U.S. again, denies holding talks after Trump announces pause on attacks. The Iranian Foreign Ministry, through the nation's state media arms, denied Trump's claims on Monday that the White House has been egging Tehran through productive talks that could lead to rapid end to the ongoing war. Hank Johnson is worried Cuba will tip over like Guam. Trump announced a military engagement to neutralize Iran's ability to engage in terrorist activity around the world on February 28th. I think that I'm out. Going to rewatch Doctors of How Human History is crazy. Well, howdy's, quackers. That's right. I'll have to wait and see with all this stuff, I think. I have to wait and see how it goes. Got to give it a little more time. Just wait and see. Just wait and see. Just wait and see. That's what they say. All right, let's go next story. Oh, this is a good story here. Kind of good. White House installs Christopher Columbus statue made from the remains of a toppled sculpture. So Rubio got no money from that? I don't know. If he did, he might have some problems. You got some splaining to do, Rubio.
Sir, today we have your Columbus Day proclamation for Monday, which we're signing a bit early. Christopher Columbus obviously discovered the New World in 1492. He was a great Italian explorer. He sailed his 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, across the Atlantic Ocean and landed in what's today the Caribbean. But this is a particularly important holiday for Italian Americans who celebrate the legacy of Christopher Columbus and the innovation and explorer zeal that he represented.
In other words, we're calling it Columbus Day. Okay.
Yes.
That was the press that broke out in applause. Can you believe that? I've never seen that happen before. The press actually broke out in applause. Good. Columbus Day.
Columbus Day.
Columbus Day, we're back, Italians. Okay. We love the Italians. Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, great. Thank you very much.
Have a good one, sir.
So we covered Scandinavia and Italy. Not bad. Now for the rest of the world. So I want to thank everybody for being here. As you know, last night we reached a momentous breakthrough in the Middle East, something that people said was never going to be done. We ended the war in Gaza and really, on a much bigger basis, created peace.
All right, it's an older clip too, I think. I think it's an older clip. A new statue of Christopher Columbus went up at the White House grounds Sunday that was built using pieces from a monument to the Italian explorer that protesters destroyed 6 years ago. How he kept from busting a gut is beyond me. Yeah. Dr. Zhivago is a crazy movie for a palate cleanser. The 13-foot, 1-ton replica of Christopher Columbus was toppled in Baltimore in 2020, then dumped into the city's inner harbor. Was commissioned by the Conference of Presidents of Major Italian-American Organizations and part of the White House celebration of the 250th anniversary. Trump's 250 party is going to be awesome. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy party. Crazy, crazy. Crazy, crazy. Well, Leif Erikson was here first by 500 years. Okay. Nuances of history, most know only bits and pieces. Yeah, well. It's Amerigo Vespucci, the most underrated explorer the world has ever known. I got a big bottle of Paul Sanson shampoo at Sally's and never had to worry about skunk spray again. Okay. Were we really fighting communism in Vietnam? I don't know. We were fighting, trying to save we're trying to save the French's colonial holdings, which was dumb. The statue has been placed outside the Eisenhower Executive Office building. It may tip over and capsize. Yeah, that's what Hank Johnson said. Are you worried if we send more soldiers to the island that it could tip over and capsize? And the admiral goes, we're pretty sure that we've looked at that and we're pretty sure that that won't happen, Congressman. They named the country after him, Duck. Not too shabby. Yeah. What is the size from side to size? I don't know what size. Talking about Guam? Guam is not that big, actually, but it's big enough. It doesn't matter. Columbus statues have long stood as symbols of pride and cultural identity for more than 18 million Americans of Italian descent. Yeah. He said we don't anticipate that. Yeah. My point is that America has a history of having wars that do not turn out the way we want. I know most don't get that. I mean, side to side, dumb shit Hank Johnson said during that session. I don't care. Columbus Day itself emerged in the aftermath of 1891 New Orleans lynching, when 11 Italian immigrants were killed by a mob of thousands, an event that prompted a national effort to promote the acceptance and assimilation of Italian Americans. This history remains central to why these monuments matter. Central. 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 Centralia. The Baltimore Columbus statue was torn down in July 2020 by Black Lives Matter activists who argued the Italian explorer was responsible for the genocide and exploitation of native peoples in America. The statue was owned by the city and dedicated in 1984 by former Mayor William Donald Schaefer and former President Ronald Reagan. At the time of the statue's destruction, a spokesperson for Baltimore's then mayor, Jack Young, said the monument may represent different things to different people. Wow. Different strokes for different folks to rule the world. Different strokes to rule the world. We understand that dynamics that are playing out in Baltimore are part of a national narrative. President Trump signed a proclamation last year hailing Columbus as an American hero. Columbus Day, we're back. What's it say? Somebody should go Trump Hank Johnson over. I don't get it. Yes, Maduro's our bitch now. He's talking. Wait till you start hearing about the guy from Indeed that was Maduro's boss. These monuments matter. White House installs revived Columbus statue. Leftist destroyed in 2020. We saw all this stuff. Yep. Tump, not Trump. Tump, not Trump. Wow. Now I'm confused. I'm going to have to read that again. Unveiled in 84 by Reagan, destroyed in 2020. The Baltimore Columbus statue now stands on the White House grounds. That's good, right? What's this one say? Demon rats rattled after California sheriff seizes 650,000 ballots in election integrity crackdown. I think we saw some of this yesterday. What about the Lincoln statue that was donated by mums of slaves that was destroyed? Yeah, that's crazy, right? That's crazy. Can't wait till Trump is on Mount Rushmore. Riverside County Sheriff and California gubernatorial candidate Chad Bianco. He's a Chad. And has seized more than 650,000 ballots from last November's election as part of an investigation into potential discrepancies in the county's vote count. Dan says, I was at Guam with a broke C5 when the USS Kitty Hawk showed up. It didn't tip the island over, just drank it out of alcohol. That'll happen. That will happen. Investigation is simple. Physically count the ballots and compare the results with the total votes recorded. He said the review will determine whether the results are accurate. That's all they want to do is make sure they get an accurate count. I don't know why anybody would be opposed to an accurate count. Don't get it. There's no acceptable error, small or large, in our elections, he said. The investigation covers ballots tied to Prop 50, which passed in Riverside County with 56% of the vote. A margin of more than 82,000 ballots. That's what I'm not saying, 82,000 votes. Two college idiots who tore down the Frederick Douglass statue didn't even know who he was. They just enjoyed destruction. I think a lot of that was going on. I really do. I think Eric Swallow was reading the wrong story. We are the ones investigating the 45,000 vote discrepancy. Yeah, the other side was like, no, we don't have to even look at it. Don't worry about it. They're like, oh, there was probably an error. It's probably just an error on the people that were counting. Wowzers. This is a ballot bombshell. 45,800 more votes counted than cast in California County. This is a problem. Huge fireworks at Mount Rushmore this Independence Day. I know it should be awesome. California sheriff seizes 650,000 ballots in defiance of state officials. Yes, the state officials told him, no, you can't do that. You can't take these. They're like, no, you can't take these. You can't take these. Here's another story, which is kind of important. I think everyone should pay. Cali math, yeah, definitely. So Kalshi and Polymarket announced anti-insider trading rules as senators move to ban sports betting on prediction markets. So got two senators. One of them's a scumbag from Utah, Cassidy, I think his name is. And the other one is Adam Schiff. They want to ban Kalshi and Polymarket from taking people's monies to wager on how the election's going to turn out. They want that to stop. This has to stop. We can't allow this to go on any longer. Oh, man, my legs are getting sore. So prediction markets, Kalshi and Polymarket on Monday revealed new policies to prevent insider trading as bipartisan Senate duo introduced legislation to bar such platforms from allowing people to bet on sports and casino-style games. So they don't want them betting on it. Greg McNeely says, this channel should have at least 1 million subs. Tell everyone on the other streams about Jim. Well, I'd appreciate that. I would really like to grow. I really like to get bigger. I'd like to get, first goal is 5,000, then 10,000, then 50,000, then 100,000. You know what I mean? Then it goes from there. I am in. Polymarket said it was cracking down on users on using stolen information and illegal tips, among other steps, while Kalshi announced guardrails to prevent politicos and athletes from betting on outcomes they could influence. Huh. The effort comes as prediction markets have been facing growing scrutiny over controversial wagers placed on U.S. military action in Venezuela and Iran, and as critics like bill sponsor Senator Curtis and Adam Schiff say the sites are hooking people on sports and casino sites. They're hooking people. Oh my God, these people cannot. So these people that can't think for themselves, people that can't think for themselves actually be out there playing this game? No. In addition to cracking down on stolen confidential info and trading illegal tips, Polymarket's updated rules bar trading by people who can affect the outcome they're betting on. Markets thrive on clarity. Polymarket's chief legal officer, Neil Kumar, said, these rule enhancements make our expectations abundantly clear for every participant from across both platforms and highlight compliance in the infrastructure. Kalshi said its new guardrails will aim to preventively block political candidates if they try to trade on their own campaigns. The updated rules will also block college and pro athletes from betting in markets associated with sports they are involved in. Meanwhile, the bill from Curtis and Schiff would bar any entity registered within the Commodities Futures Trading Commission from listing or facilitating transactions leading to sporting events or athletic competitions. It would also prohibit bets tied to casino-style games, including poker and blackjack. I don't know that this is federal authority to do this. The legislation marks the first Senate effort to address the rapid growth of sports-linked trading on platforms that operate outside traditional state-regulated gaming frameworks. This fucking clown. Never Trumper. Last week, Arizona's Attorney General filed criminal charges against Kalshi, accusing of operating an illegal gambling business. Kalshi rejected the allegations as based on paper-thin arguments. Yeah, so the stock market is now illegal? Maybe. Maybe it should be. Cool Frog has rated the stream. Thank you, Cool Frog. Pat She's pretty smart. The best family in Guam is probably going to be single family about 6 months. Yar, yar, raid, raid. Raid, 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 raid. Last Thursday, Major League Baseball announced a new partnership with Polymarket and the SCFTC to establish guidelines aimed at managing risk while enhancing fan engagement. Yes. Can I bet on Kalshi that this won't pass? Probably. Schiff took aim at jargon used by the prediction markets, which often refers to bets as contracts. Sports prediction contracts are sports bets, just with a different name. And yet, these contracts have been offered in 50 states in clear violation of state and federal law. What a fucking Debbie Downer, man. And these contracts have been offered in all 50 states in clear violation of the law. Kalshi said the bill would have adverse consequences. Probably. Banning sports on regulated prediction markets would just push this behavior offshore where no regulation exists. It's clear this bill is motivated by casino interests that are threatened by competition. Wow, that's crazy. Threatened by competition. The CFTC didn't immediately respond for comments. While sports betting is typically overseen at a state level, prediction markets use financial instruments such as futures and commodity contracts, placing them under federal jurisdiction. Recent months have seen lawmakers, state governments, and federal regulators debate about who should have the oversight of the event and sports contracts on prediction markets? Oh, good question. Who should? Who should? Who should? Too many young people in Utah are getting exposed to addictive sports betting. Oh my God, this fucking guy. Addictive sports betting. Put down the fork, fatty. That's what I would say. A series of eye-popping wagers has drawn criticism from the industry. Anonymous polymarket traders made hundreds of thousands of dollars for correctly predicting a January fall of Venezuela's President Maduro. Earlier this month, Kalshi refused to pay out wagers that accurately predicted the February death of Iranian supreme leader, saying guidelines prohibited markets directly tied to death. Wow. I think there are some crappy maps in Europe back then. There were also super secret ones from who knows how many far back. Atlantis, maybe. Maybe that would be cool to have an Atlantis map. That would be cool. Let's see. Look at this story. It's very upsetting. Very upsetting. Very upsetting. Only Schiff can get in on his grift. Yeah. Well, this is what they're saying. Schiff is taking a ton of money from Indian casinos. It says, Angel family of Sheridan Gorman, a college student killed by an illegal alien, scorches a deranged liberal alderwoman who said Sheridan had it coming. That's right. Chicago alderman. These kids were out there doing normal things people do in a neighborhood. It sounds like this might have been a wrong place, wrong time, running into a person with a gun. What? They might have startled the person at the end of the pier unintentionally.
Prosecutors have charged an illegal immigrant from Venezuela with the murder of 18-year-old Sheridan Gorman in Chicago. She was a Loyola Chicago University student. She was shot and killed while just walking with her friends less than a mile away from campus. ICE has now lodged an arrest detainer and asked the governor not to release the suspect who entered the U.S. under the Biden administration. Officials released him back in 2023 into the homeland. He is facing 6 felony counts including murder and is due in court next hour for a detention hearing.
Thank you so much.
So lots of backlash, of course, after a Democratic Chicago alderwoman seemed to downplay this murder. Listen.
The kids were out doing normal things people do in the neighborhood. And it sounds like this might have been a wrong place, wrong time, running into a person who had a gun. They might have startled this person at the end of the pier unintentionally.
Wow, so they blame the fucking victim. Blame the fucking victim. She startled the person. Here's the Chicago alderwoman's name. Chicago alderwoman Maria Haddon. That Sheridan, who was 18, was in the wrong place. She might have startled the migrant who killed her. Yeah, blame the gun.
On the pier, they walk around. So the kids were out doing normal things people do in the neighborhood. And it sounds like this might have been a wrong place, wrong time, running into a person who had a gun. They might have startled this person at the end of the pier unintentionally. But that's all the time, right? And they go out on the pier, they walk around. So the kids were out doing normal things people do in the neighborhood. And it sounds like this might have been a wrong place, wrong time.
Well, let me tell you something. Anytime at night in the city of Chicago, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah, you see it now, don't you? There's no convincing them to change their mind. Sadly, I have seen this mental illness where I believe I can convince someone of the truth if I can just show them the facts. It worked to change my mind from a liberal, but sadly, not everyone. The Alderman characterization of this tragedy, a senseless case of being in the wrong place, wrong time, serves as a rhetorical shield to decouple the events from the deliberate policy decisions that facilitated it. By framing predictable outcomes of mass migration and dismantling social cohesion as mere stochastic accidents, the administrative class avoids addressing the biological and cultural realities of in-group altruism and the necessity of shared heritage for maintaining high-trust societies. The narrative of randomness is a form of pathological altruism that prioritizes abstract globalist moral universalism over the fundamental safety and continuity of the constituent community, effectively gaslighting the citizenry into accepting the erosion of their public square as an unavoidable misery rather than a direct consequence of a restructured social contract. Like lightning. Yeah. They will never change. Yeah. No, you're definitely, and if you get struck by lightning, you're definitely in the wrong place, wrong time, they say. Shame on Chicago Tribune for this blatant omission. The illegal alien suspect of murdering Sheridan Gorman is a twice-released criminal illegal alien. This murder never should have happened because this illegal alien should not have been in the country. Yeah. Rest in peace, Kate Steinle. San Francisco pier deletion by an illegal alien. Yeah, and that was jury nullification where they didn't find him guilty because they're like, oh, we don't know if he fired the gun just because we caught him with it and it's the guy that they saw, but it could have been someone else. Wow. Wow. Let's see if I get another. I saw this video. Here's, it says, Governor Prickster, I saw your post honoring the lives lost in Minnesota, standing publicly naming Alex Preddy. They will always say so what, Americans do this type of thing. Yeah. Well, they can say so what, but I have a problem with it. I have a problem with it. I do not like it. I think it's bad news. Bad news. Oh, in the room. Boop-a-doop, 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 boop-a-doop. Hold on a second. All right. Okay, what's this one? Oh, we got this. DHS asked the judge to lift the block on Abrego Garcia. Way to go, Chicago. Support the one sucking out the rest of the citizens. Where's Jesse? Yeah. They will always say, so what Americans tell just everything. Yeah. So where is? So yeah, they want to send him to Liberia. DHS asked Judge to lift Kilmoy Abrego Garcia deportation block. They wanted to deport him to Liberia. The Department of Homeland Security has asked the federal judge to lift their order. Judge Zines, saying the agency is ready to send in Liberia. They made a request of Judge Zines in Maryland, an Obama appointee, saying the order was only impediment to currently preventing deportation. Trump administration indicated in court filings Liberian government remains willing to accept him. An ICE official said the declaration of the agency is confident that Abrego Garcia's removal will be imminent if Zinnis lifts her order. DHS said in a new court filing that the government is prepared to remove Abrego Garcia from the U.S. in an extremely expeditious manner. Abrego Garcia, a Salvadoran national who's been illegally living in America Maryland with his family, was deported to El Salvador last month. The Trump administration said he was an MS-13 gang member, which he has denied. I don't think he's ever denied it. Did he ever deny it? He hasn't denied it. That's bullshit. Abrego Garcia was set to be imprisoned in a Salvadoran mega prison. He has pleaded not guilty to charges which his attorneys have argued are vindictive because of a civil lawsuit he filed against the Trump administration. Well, I hope they send him there quick. Well, everybody, unfortunately, we didn't hit the goal. We didn't hit the second goal. We were way, way far away from hitting the goal. So I think that's going to be it for tonight. Tuesday night, I'm going to try to stream. I'm going to try to stream every night this week if I can. I'm going to make an effort. It might be a little later. It might be a little earlier, depending on how I can get it done with the grandkids and stuff. But I'm going to make the very best of it. I want to thank everybody who was here. Thank everyone who's here. Please remember to hit like. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And please come on back for Jim to tell you the news.